Well, it is a gorgeous night for football here in Evanston, and Ryan Field playing host to a night game for just the 13th time in its storied history. The opponents tonight out of Michigan, and their first road game of the season. First time since '76. They started with 5 straight at home. They've taken on all comers in the big house, and Brady Hoke 5-0 in his first season as the head man at Michigan. A remarkable start for the Wolverines. Meanwhile, Pat Fitzgerald, one of the most competitive coaches you'll ever sit down and talk with. He said no excuses from last week, but this week I expect a win. And they think they can get it. We'll see some wrinkles from both sides tonight. Gorgeous night for football. Temperature at 75 degrees. A south wind out of 12 miles an hour in the forecast is for continued clear skies and likely lots of points tonight. Michigan well represented here at Ryan Field. Unofficial count, it looks like better than 45% of the stands are full of maize and blue. Matt Wild, a freshman from San Diego, will kick off for the Wolverines. Venrick Mark and Jacob Schmidt back to return. Folks, get ready to see a lot of number 5 tonight for Northwestern. And we are underway from Evanston. This is Schmidt, and 3 yards deep, he'll take a knee, and the Northwestern offense hits the field under the direction of their senior quarterback, Dan Persa, who missed 10.5 months due to an Achilles injury after throwing the game winner against Iowa. He came out against Illinois last week, and he was fine, but he admitted later this week that he did not throw caution to the wind, and he was very tentative. 72% completion percentage for his career. The Achilles, he says, is well healed. Pat Fitzgerald said that Persa was fantastic and healthy all week. Schmidt is his tailback, and they look to spread Michigan out right off the bat. They dump it to Dunsmore, and Drake Dunsmore forced out of bounds after a gain of 7. Let's meet the starters now on offense for Northwestern.
You're looking at the offensive line, 125 career starts coming into the game, but the center, Brandon Vitabile, a redshirt freshman, will have his hands full with Mike Martin on the defensive line, and Jeremy Ebert, 5 touchdowns the last 2 weeks, having an outstanding couple of weeks of football.
Persa to throw again, and that one just a little bit low. Coverage by J.T. Floyd of Michigan. Now for the Auto Owners Insurance starting defense for Michigan. My partner mentioned Mike Martin up front. He doesn't have the same numbers as in past years, but his coaches say he's doing the job of 2 men by taking on extra offensive linemen every play. Jake Ryan has settled into a starting role at the strong side linebacker position, and a secondary that's sure to be tested. Troy Wolfolk, by the way, lost his cast today. He's still playing injured. Persa, pressure, dumps, and incomplete. The pressure came from a blitzing linebacker, Kenny Demmons, and he got to him in a hurry, forced a Northwestern punt.
One of the things you'll notice throughout the evening is Michigan will continue to bring pressure. You're going to see Demmons comes right up the middle, gets his hands on Persa. Good coverage by Michigan downfield, forces them to punt.
So 3 and out for Northwestern. First possession on 3 straight passes. Brandon Williams, 21st punt of the season. Jeremy Gallen back to return. A low kick, and it takes a Northwestern bounce and will carry all the way and roll to the 25.5-yard line. A 48-yard punt that time for the sophomore Brandon Williams. Well, here he is, shoelace Denard Robinson under the lights for Michigan, and he's been on fire as of late. 14 touchdowns in his last 4 games.
Well, this guy is obviously an electric quarterback. Anytime he puts his hands on the football, he's got the ability to take it the distance. If Northwestern wants to stay in this ball game, they'll have to play great as far as their technique on defense. Make sure they're covering up all the lanes. You can't let him inside or outside, because when he breaks into the open field, there's not many people on the field that'll be able to catch him.
Fitzgerald Toussaint is the starting running back for Michigan out of the shotgun, as they have gone back to, and the first play is a quarterback run for Denard. He lowers his shoulder and he stays on his feet, but the stretch only gets a yard or so. David Wabusi with the tackle for Northwestern. Here are the starters for Michigan on offense.
4 starters come back from that 2010 squad. Michael Schofield getting his 3rd start of the year in for the injured Ricky Barnum. And Junior Hemingway, a guy that has 1/3 of his catches in his career have gone for 20+. You talk about a big play receiver, it's number 21 for the Wolverines.
A gain of 2 on forward progress for Michigan. 2nd and 8 after that quarterback run. Vincent Smith is now at running back. Here's Denard Robinson. out of the slot. He came in motion and took the handoff. 2 plays, 2 carries, 2 big hits on Denard Robinson, and that'll set up a 3rd and a long 2. Now for the Auto Owners Insurance starting defense for Northwestern. Vince Brown is the man who brings the pressure. He's listed on every watch list of note defensively. And Colin Ellis has settled in at the strong side linebacker spot. He was out the first 3 games with a hand injury, still playing with a cast on that broken right hand. 3rd and 2 for Michigan. 2 plays, 2 Denard runs. Now 3 wide for the first time. And Robinson will take off. He's got blockers in front, and a stiff arm will lead to possibly a Michigan first down, and the spot will be at the 39. Gain of 3 and a Michigan first down. What do you think of Michigan so far, going all Denard all the time?
Not surprising whatsoever, Tom. This is exactly what's been working, what's been successful for Michigan over the last few weeks. As we mentioned earlier, they tried to go with a much more pro style and a spread balance early on, but Al Borges, their offensive coordinator, has found out really quickly that Denard is successful and comfortable running out of the shotgun.
Now 2 running backs in for Michigan. Denard throws for the first time, and he one-hops one to Roy Roundtree. He only has 5 catches on the year as they try to get Roundtree involved. Al Borges came in, as you mentioned, and tried to go pro style and move Denard under center. They worked primarily in the spring with it. Denard told us a few weeks ago, he said, that's where I was in high school. I'm comfortable under center. But it seems, especially after last week against Minnesota, that Al Borges has done a great job changing his game plan to make his quarterback as comfortable as he can be.
At the end of the day, you've got to go with what's working, and that's getting Denard in the shotgun and letting him run some zone read, get him in space, let him use his legs to beat people.
Here's Toussaint, and he picks up 2.5, make it 3 yards, and that will leave 3rd and 7. Wabusi, the junior from Houston, Texas, up with the stop. He's a first-year starter at Mike linebacker, and Northwestern trying to stop Michigan on a key 3rd down.
Mentioned Toussaint got the carry. Talking to Pat Fitzgerald yesterday, he mentioned that any time that Denard throws the football or hands it off, it's a win for the Northwestern defense. As you can see, that sets up a 3rd and long for Michigan, and as you know, they're not the best passing team in the conference, but they'll likely have to go through the air.
Benrick Mark is in as a spy for Northwestern on Robinson. He's typically a wide receiver and returner. Robinson dials deep. He's got a man, and jump ball taken away. Michigan's got it. It's Junior Hemingway who wins the jump ball for Michigan, and they're going back to those big passes. This one a gain of 48. It's Notre Dame all over again.
Isolation on the left-hand side of your screen, right hand of the offensive formation. Good protection by that Michigan offensive line, and as we talked about, the big playability by Junior Hemingway. Jump ball, see him extend, goes up, and makes the play. Good defense right there by Ibrahim Campbell, but a better offensive play on the 50-50 ball.
Now 1st and goal from the 10, and Michigan runs it to pick up 1 as Toussaint takes it over a pile of Wildcats, including Bryce McNall and Vince Brown. Well, Junior Hemingway with that big catch, he's 4th in the nation with nearly 27 yards per catch, but they went away from the deep balls against Minnesota and concentrated on a short and succinct passing game.
And to Michigan's credit, they didn't really have to go to the deep ball against the Gophers. They're obviously struggling both against the run and the pass, but Junior Hemingway's been a guy that is just fit for making big plays in the passing game, and I expect them to take a couple of shots the rest of this evening.
Denard under center for the first time, and out of the I formation, play action. Wide open, and caught. Touchdown, Michigan. Steve Watson with an 8-yard touchdown grab, and the Wolverines are on the board.
Even in this new pro-style offense, you generally don't see a whole lot of tight ends, and if you do, it's their starter, Kevin Koger, but this time they get Watson in the lineup, and he comes wide open in the back corner of the end zone. Something that I've seen on film is that Northwestern ends up having a hard time defending the corner routes, and you can see right there, Michigan took advantage.
Key play for Watson to keep the tip of that football from hitting the turf and to secure it for a Michigan touchdown, and Brendan Gibbons punches the extra point through. An 8-play, 74-yard drive from Michigan. 48 of those yards from Robinson to Hemingway, and it sets up this play action Wolverine touchdown.
BTV with HD.
Big Ten Network football is brought to you by Auto Owners Insurance. Get to know the independent agents representing Auto Owners Insurance, the no problem people. Beautiful night on the lakefront here in Chicago. And north of Chicago and Evanston, or Denard Robinson has already gone to work. An 8-play, 74-yard scoring drive to open the points tonight as 11th-ranked Michigan leads Northwestern 7-0. Schmidt and Mark back from Northwestern, and they switch it up to try to get Vendrick Mark a return. This one is a few yards deep, and he bobbles it, so no return once again. Let's go down to the field and say hello for the first time tonight to Lisa Byington.
Hi, Tom. This will actually be our second look here at Dan Persa. All week, the coaches have said Dan Persa has looked great. Now, I talked to the training staff who have been with him during this whole rehab process, and they said last week against Illinois, he probably was a little bit nervous. And the step here that he needs to take is he needs to start trusting his Achilles. He says his Achilles is fine. That's what the training staff says. He now has to match his mind with his body, Tom.
Well, and that can be a challenge, Lisa, because he admitted when he got banged up against Illinois, he didn't know if it was a recurrence of a bad injury or just tightening up with that Achilles. Blitz coming, and he tries to dump it off, but it's knocked away at the line of scrimmage by Ryan Van Bergen, one of the few linemen who didn't blitz, and there's a flag on the play. Roughing the passer will go against Michigan. First down today for Northwestern. Craig Rowe was the offending party as he put a hit on Persa, who comes to the sideline now.
See Craig Rowe coming in on the little stunt right there, the defensive tackle and end twisting, and he comes in, gets a late hit on Dan Persa. You got to be smart when you're playing on the road. Can't afford any additional penalties.
Well, Kane Coulter has entered the game for Northwestern as you saw Persa go to the sideline. He finished the game against Illinois. He started the first three. Option, pitch, big gain for Northwestern, but then a big hit by Jordan Kovacs to keep it from going any further. It was Jacob Schmidt with the 5-yard gain. What do we think of Kane Coulter getting early snaps here for Northwestern?
Well, you know they're going to get him into the lineup, and you talk with the coaches, and they feel like he's one of the best athletes on the team, so he's got to be on the field, and he can make plays, and you can see flashes of it right there running the option.
And now Persa back on 2nd and 5. He swings it out, and this one's complete to Ebert. First grab tonight for Ebert, who is hog-tied but stays on his feet and finally launched the ball out of bounds. And a big gain of 13 for Northwestern. Thomas Gordon finally credited with the tackle. Persa to Ebert is a great combination.
Well, it's been a great combination throughout both of their guys' career. We got a chance to see that last week as Ebert had an outstanding game, and I anticipate seeing a lot of this throughout the rest of the evening as well.
And now Coulter split out wide as a wide receiver. They look for him on the deep ball, and a double move, and it's incomplete. 2nd and 10 now for Northwestern. Time now for a Home Depot doing more on defense. In the Michigan defense, the most improved defense in the nation. They're second only to Alabama in points allowed per game. Last year, they were 108th in the nation. What's the biggest difference?
Well, I think they're getting so much more technically sound. Brady Hoke is putting his stamp on this defense, and guys are covering up their gaps, and they're playing with in the right system.
Persa rolls, throws on the run. He's so dangerous there, and it's a first down for Northwestern and Drake Dunsmore. A 32-yard strike out of the pocket for the mobile Persa. Achilles doesn't seem to be an issue.
We just talked about his connection with Jeremy Ebert. He's got that same connection with Drake Dunsmore, and we're seeing some vintage Dan Persa getting outside the pocket, extending plays, and finding his super back down the field.
Coulter is still in the game for Northwestern. He'll be in the backfield here. And now motions away. We have yet to see Persa take off and run the option. They use Coulter for that. Persa looking that direction, checks down, checks again, and he finally dumps it to its running back, Trayvon Green. And Green is inside the 20. Gain of 4. Brandon Hawthorne with the tackle. What did the coaches tell us yesterday in meetings? Dan Persa's progressions are where he can make the biggest improvement from week 1 to week 2.
Well, last week versus Illinois, they said that he got to his first and his second progression, but last year he got from 1 to 4 in about a second and a half, and you saw right there he got through his progression much quicker. Short gain, but he still was able to move the football down 4 yards.
Coulter back in at quarterback, another option look here, and he cuts back beautifully. Touchdown Northwestern. Sophomore Kane Coulter with the keeper. Well, I asked your partner pregame if Persa would run the option. I think the answer is Northwestern will run it, but so far it will be Coulter who will take advantage.
Well, and you can see why Pat Fitzgerald and his staff have felt like Kane Coulter's got to be on the football field. He's just such a dynamic football player. He's able to make smart decisions. Obviously, was the starter for the first few games of the season. He can make plays. You obviously got a good chance to see him running the option right there.
Those two options for Northwestern cover 20 yards on their scoring drive to tie it at 7. Is this the early stage of a shootout again in Northwestern? Now BTN goes where you want, when you want it with BTN To Go, presented by Auto Owners Insurance. Watch live games, original programming, and extra football game channels all on your computer, tablet, or smartphone. BTN To Go is available to subscribers who receive BTN through their cable, satellite, or participating video providers. To learn more, visit btntogo.com. Northwestern's on the board after Persa and Coulter combined to take it 80 yards for the Wildcats. Artavius Odom's back to receive for Michigan. Taken at the 19, this is Gallen, and Gallen sidesteps a man before he's finally brought down at the 31-yard line. A return of 12. Let's take a look back at that last possession and the deep ball from Michigan.
Well, you mentioned Venric Mark. He's number 5 right here, right in front of David Wabusi, but you're also going to see that they've only got 3 down linemen in the ball game, so they're going to leave themselves susceptible, not necessarily going to get a pass rush. It's a risk they're taking, but they want Venric Mark to spy on Denard Robinson, not let him out of the backfield, and try to make a play on him if he runs the football.
And the thought process by bringing Mark in to spy is that they want to make Denard beat them with his arm, and he did on the first possession. Now he wants to pass again. Deep ball on a line, complete for a first down, and more into Northwestern territory is Hemingway. A pickup of 26, the second big play from Denard to Hemingway.
Well, we just talked about on that first drive, the touchdown to Watson on the corner route. It's one of the things I noticed on film, and obviously the Michigan coaches noticing it as well, is that Northwestern has left that corner open window. You can see Hemingway comes wide open. Jordan Maben comes in off to make the play afterwards, but again, after Junior Hemingway has made a big play.
4 wide now, and they're going to run it out of this formation, and straight ahead goes Vincent Smith, the junior from Pahokee, Florida, picks up 3. Denard started that Minnesota game 11 for 11 throwing the football. But as I mentioned earlier, Al Borges made the decision to get Denard in a rhythm by going to a short passing game. They've obviously gone away from that after watching the Illinois Northwestern film.
Well, they've obviously seen some opportunities to take advantage of in the passing game. Of course, Junior Hemingway just made a great individual play going up for the jump ball, but we've seen a couple of corner routes, so anticipate to see that again throughout the rest of this ball game. Vincent
Smith, the tailback with Robinson. Misdirection. Denard sets up off his back foot, lets one go, and that is picked off. Intercepted by Campbell, and Campbell has a return, and an alley finally brought down at the 37-yard line. A return of 31. Vincent Smith popped him down, and it's the first career interception for Ibrahim Campbell.
Talked about it earlier in the broadcast that Denard Robinson needs to make smart decisions, and this was his first bad decision. I saw it right from the get-go. You'll see him throw this football off of his back foot. He just made up his mind. Jack DiNardo bringing the pressure in, made up his mind. Ibrahim Campbell turned around and just was a receiver on this play. Was not even in the vicinity of Junior Hemingway.
Pat Fitzgerald challenged his young defensive backs this week. Jervin Matthews at one cornerback spot. First-year starter as a senior, and Campbell, the redshirt freshman from Philly. And Campbell answers with the takeaway. Michigan, number 1 in the Big Ten at +7. Persa with the option pitch and a burst of speed for Venric Mark, who carries it for a first down. All right, the trifecta hit for Mark. We've seen him on special teams, defense, and now in for the first time as a running back.
Oh, he's making you look good. You mentioned that we were going to see a lot of Venric Mark, and you see him running the option this time with Dan Persa. Again, just like Kane Coulter, an electric player they've got to have on the field.
And now they swing it out to Mark. He's got great speed, and he's finally submarined by Van Bergen at the Michigan sideline. So just Tuesday of this week, Pat Fitzgerald pulled Venric Mark aside Tuesday morning before practice and told the Houston native, "We're going to use you a little bit more. How'd you like to be in the backfield?" "Sure, coach." "How'd you like to continue to return kicks?" "Yeah, coach." "How'd you like to play defense?" "Sure thing." And we've seen him do all thus far tonight. Persa with a little shovel pass to Dunsmore, who makes it to the 45, a pickup of 2, 3rd and 4 coming.
Interesting play design right there, bringing Drake Dunsmore, their super back is what they call it here in Evanston. Most people would just call it a tight end. Comes from the left side of the line of scrimmage, comes back around, trying to just run the little flip option play underneath, but it was well defended by the Wolverines.
Northwestern's converted 42% of their third downs this year. Persa facing pressure, lets it go. One hand grab by Ebert. Northwestern first down, a pickup of 6 for the Wildcats.
Well, you can already see that Dan Persa seems to be settling into his groove. He's already found Ebert a couple of times, and he's starting to push the tempo of that offense, just like we talked about. But outstanding individual effort here, the one-handed catch by Ebert.
Michigan only brings 3 this time. Persa has plenty of time, and now he will take off and run with it. And he falls forward after getting tripped up by Jake Ryan. He picks up 6. How about the hands of Jeremy Ebert?
Well, these guys have hooked up so many times throughout their career, but excellent concentration right there of Ebert, and talk about trusting his hands right there. Went up with that one hand, and he knew he was going to bring that one down.
Ebert out of the game. Persa out for at least a snap. 2nd and 5. Kane Coulter back in at quarterback for Northwestern. Another option look. This time the give to the first man through, and a big gain for Adonis Smith. He's down to the 11. JT Floyd finally brings him down after a 24-yard pickup. I'm having flashbacks to a Michigan Northwestern shootout under the lights.
You got to give Mick McCall, the offensive coordinator here at Northwestern, a lot of credit, because he is absolutely diving into his bag of tricks. He's keeping this Michigan defense on their heels, bringing Coulter in the game, bringing Venric Mark in, switching the running backs. They've definitely got the momentum and control offensively right now for Northwestern.
Both offensive coordinators this week were all smiles, devious smiles, as they both said they'll get creative this week, but wouldn't be so specific with us, obviously. 4 men coming up. Persa, he steps away, he can run with it, and he will indeed. He gets inside the 10 and still a bit tentative, and for good reason, because he took a pop from Brandon Hawthorne, and Persa's got to relocate his headgear.
One of the things I love about Dan Persa is that so many people would talk about him being a dual threat quarterback, but when you see him running, it's smart running. He tries to pick up as many yards as he can, and he gets down on the ground, and he tries to avoid those extra hits, but he's so efficient in the passing game. He's a small guy, he's a fast guy, but he's still a passing-first quarterback.
Persa left the Illinois game early last week after getting that Achilles injury bothered once again, and now he runs the option, but will pitch once again. Green, touchdown Northwestern on a beautiful cutback. It all started with a Wildcat takeaway on the interception by Campbell. And now 13 unanswered for Northwestern with the extra point coming. Jeff Budzine, the kicker. And the Wildcats have bounced back with back-to-back touchdowns, both on the ground. An 8-play, 63-yard drive for Northwestern. 2 touchdowns for Northwestern, 2 coming on the option. This one a pitch from Persa to Green. Fourteen to 7, Northwestern leading, 11th ranked and undefeated Michigan. 4:10 to go in the first quarter. Here from Ryan Field on a gorgeous setting here in Evanston. Around the league today, Purdue put it on Minnesota 45-17, largest win margin in a conference game since November of '08. for the Boilers. Illinois stays undefeated, their first 6-0 start since that magical season of '51. And Penn State is primed to go on a roll. Joe Pa gets its nemesis from Iowa with a 10-point win. We'll be in Happy Valley next week. A high kick taken at the 10 by Odoms. Odoms has a blocker and a full head of steam, and he takes it out to the 35 before he's finally folded up. 25-yard return there for Odoms. So the updated standings now in the Legends Division, Michigan and Michigan State, the only two undefeated teams at the top of the Legends. On the leaders' side, Illinois, Penn State, Wisconsin, and Purdue, all without a conference loss. Any surprises to you, Rack, in the early standings?
Well, you know, everybody talks about the fact that Penn State seems to be a little bit down. They've got the quarterback shuffle going on, but they're still playing pretty good football. You mentioned we'll be out there next week. It'll be interesting to see how they continue to develop. Still a young football team.
Design quarterback run. Robinson has taken a lot of hits and has been running in traffic here early tonight. That time he picks up 4. And obviously he brings a lot of attention from Northwestern. They tried to mimic Denard's speed, and they had to turn to a youngster to do that throughout practice this week.
Well, Nick Van Hoos is a true freshman. He's also a defensive back, and there's number 23, and he was a guy that they felt really good with as far as his speed, his athleticism, to give him a good look of Denard Robinson in practice. I asked Coach Fitzgerald, I said, did you use Dan Purser or Kane Coulter? He said, absolutely not.
Drew Dillio now in the game at the slot for Michigan. Denard goes over the top to his tight end, a play that's been so successful for Michigan. Koger couldn't reach that one. And now 3rd and 6 upcoming for Michigan.
That little pop pass was really popular when I was in high school. You don't see it a whole lot right now, but as you mentioned, Tom, they've done it a lot at Michigan. And Denard has usually been pretty good at sticking that ball right on the chest of Kevin Koger. You can see it was just a little bit high. You've got to put the ball catchable spot when you're throwing to a tight end. 2
possessions ago, Michigan on a 3rd and long hit a deep ball. Venrick Mark not into spy this time, but a nickel package is. Pump, fake, and finally Hemingway with the grab, a pickup of 8 and a Michigan first down.
You know, that last drive we talked about, Denard Robinson throwing the interception, and he threw it off of his back foot. But you can see on that play right there, when he thinks about, and I don't want to say think about because it's got to be instinctual for a quarterback, but when he steps into his throw, you can see he's got a very good arm. He can be a very good passer in this league, but he's just got to trust his instincts, step into the football, because he delivers a really nice ball.
Robinson, the junior from Deerfield Beach, Florida. Now 5 wide for Michigan. And 1st and 10. And complete to the near side. This is Jeremy Gallen's first grab. Forced out of bounds by Jervin Matthews, pickup of 12. A sellout here tonight at Northwestern, their first Big Ten home game of the season, and the first of 3 straight that the Wildcats will play under the lights. Pat Fitzgerald was asked about the schedule before the season started. His AD said, Pat, what if I could get you 3 night games in front? Yes. Before he could even finish his sentence, yes. Under center for just the 2nd time tonight is Robinson. They like play action here, but they'll keep it on the ground to Toussaint, and Toussaint rips off a nice gain, and a flag coming in on the backside after a pickup of 7. Brian Peters with the stop.
Thanks. See another penalty here by Michigan, and anytime you're going on the road, you've got to play smart football. We've seen the interception already by Denard, a couple of penalties by this Michigan offense, especially when you get a positive play right there. Fitzgerald Toussaint screaming down the football field. It gets negated by a penalty. It's tough to find momentum when you're trying to play from 1st and 20.
And so Michigan backed up here, with the clock approaching the 2-minute mark of the first quarter. Already 21 points put on the board between these 2 high-powered offenses. Robinson under center again. Play action. They try to set up the little screen, and Gallen couldn't break away. Drugged down by Vince Brown after a pickup of 7.
Michigan trying to use the play action to get everybody to their right or the defensive left. Try to get everybody to flow that direction, come back to the other side and try to hit a solo matchup of the wide receiver. Taylor Lewan, the left tackle, comes out and gets just enough piece of the defender to spring him loose.
So 2nd and long now for Northwestern. Pardon me, for Michigan. And Robinson on the run, and he will decide to try to run for it, and wisely steps out of bounds ahead of Ibrahim Campbell. A pickup of 8. That will set up 3rd down, and the offense staying on the field for Michigan.
Well, I got to credit the Wolverines defense right there. We saw him get backed up Wolverines offense to get backed up 1st and 20, and just in 2 plays they cut it down. They got a much more manageable 3rd down to be able to take advantage of Denard and company.
It's about 3rd and 5 here for Michigan. Pressure coming. Robinson stands tall, throws, got it! Koger hauls this one in. 2nd big grab for a Michigan tight end tonight. A pickup of 16. Bryce McNall in the coverage.
Vincent Smith, number 2, their utility back, gets an outstanding block out on the edge when the pressure comes. You see it on the right-hand side of your screen. Watch Vincent Smith come over and get the cut block on Campbell right there. Gives Denard just enough time to find his receiver, Kevin Koger, down the field, able to move the chains for the Wolverines.
Denard told us Vincent Smith, pound for pound, the toughest guy on the team. Devin Gardner is now in at quarterback for Michigan. Robinson split out as a wide receiver, top of the formation. Play clock at 1, and Robinson now will react and get a timeout called as the freshman from Detroit.
For the play clock, head run out.
So
First charge, timeout.
Robinson able to bail out Gardner, who tried to check at the line of scrimmage without enough time. Back to the drawing board for Brady Hoke, and back to Evanston right after this. Three seconds remain in the first quarter. Michigan facing a 1st and 10. Devin Gardner was in at quarterback, and he will stay in at this play. And they will have 2 quarterbacks on the field, with Denard Robinson splitting out as a wide receiver. Al Borges has said he's gone deep into the drawer, but he can go deeper. A lot of these plays aren't as off the cuff as they seem. Michigan put them in 3rd week of fall camp. Robinson in motion. They fake the end around to Denard, and Gardner pressured. Stops, plants, still trying to escape. And the freshman makes it up to the 15. Tyler Scott, great job to hold his ground. It's only a gain of 4 for Michigan. Points galore after 1 quarter of play in Evanston. Michigan struck first. Then a Northwestern takeaway, and 14 unanswered for the Cats.
The Final Drive, presented by Sprint, tonight on BTN.
Fourteen to 7 is our score through 1 quarter. 11th ranked Michigan comes into Evanston undefeated. And Denard Robinson as the Wolverines looking at a 2nd and long 6. Out of the shotgun. Robinson wants to take off. Now he steps back, throwback play, and it's intercepted. Again, Campbell with his 2nd of the game. And a flag on the play, but Campbell still has room. A beautiful cutback at the 40 and near midfield. The freshman has answered his coach's challenge with 2 picks today, and this one returned for 42 yards.
Yard penalty, 1st down.
A block in the back after the pick. Pat Fitzgerald's face says it all. He may be talking about the penalty. Play of his freshman safety.
Again, I think this was predetermined by Denard. Before he threw this football, he just figured Vincent Smith was going to be wide open. Ibrahim Campbell reads his eyes, comes over, and makes the second pick of the game.
Step-up game for Campbell, who was burned along with Matthews time again last week against Illinois. Miscommunication led to a career day for Nathan Shieldhouse and company. Straight ahead run by Jacob Schmidt. And perhaps two on the first down play for Northwestern. On 2nd and 8, Persa flushed, and Martin gets his hands on Persa's hips. Up of 7, and that will set up 3rd and 1.
Here's a situation where the Michigan defense is going to have to bail out the offense. We've already seen a couple of penalties. Try to get a stop and get the ball back to Denard.
Option pitch, Jacob Schmidt first. Carvin Johnson, pickup of 10. Tripped up by Carvin Johnson, pickup of 10. What have we seen?
Has refused to keep it thus far tonight. We've seen just a little bit of...
Has refused to keep it thus far tonight.
We've seen just a little bit of everything, and one of the things I talked about that I love so far is they're pushing the tempo, and this is something that Michigan has not seen yet this year. We've seen a number of guys cycle through there on the defensive front for the Wolverines. They're getting a little bit winded. Advantage Wildcats.
That was the key, the coaches.
And incomplete. Dan Persa wishes he had that one.
Incomplete.
Dan Persa wishes he had that one back. He had plenty of time. His offense
throw that you've seen him make throughout his career. Ball
into his throw, and that's a throw that you've seen him make throughout his career. Ball was a little bit behind.
And he avoids one defender, but then gets popped down by Demmons. Second.
One defender, but then gets popped down by Demmons. Second set for Kenny Demmons, and that will bring up 3rd and long after a loss of 2.
Well, Greg Madison, the defensive coordinator for Michigan, is not shy to take some chances against Northwestern. Obviously, when you're going against a really good athlete in Dan Persa, you got to be careful how much pressure you bring on that quarterback, because he's got the ability to get outside of your defense and make some plays. But Greg Madison, that's what he does. He brings pressure.
Madison was the defensive line coach here at Northwestern back in the late 70s. Hot snap handled by Persa, but a whistle and a false start will go against the Wildcats.
False start. 9. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
When Greg Madison was here at Northwestern, he said from 78 to 80, Evanston was a great place to be except for football Saturdays. They went 1-31-1, and it was so bad it forced him out of coaching and into the sporting goods business for a grand total of about 7 months. He said, my first daughter, Lisa, was born. I didn't think I could make it in coaching, but quickly my wife said, you made the wrong decision. It was back into coaching, and he's now back at Michigan after a stint in the NFL with the Baltimore Ravens.
And he's had a great career as a defensive coach and coordinator, and his defense does exactly what I talked about a few plays ago and bails out his offense, able to get a stop. Obviously, the false start penalty put Northwestern behind the 8 ball a little bit, but now we're going to see a punt, get the ball back to Michigan, and they've got to find a way to try to turn the momentum a little.
Brandon Williams gets it away. Another low kick, but another good bounce for Northwestern. And Gallen lets it roll to a stop after a 47-yard boot by the sophomore Brandon Williams. Denard Robinson and company back on offense following a turnover a moment ago. On a clear night outside of Chicago, 14-7, Northwestern leads undefeated Michigan. 12:04 to go before the half. Time now for our Verizon Key Connection. And Pat Fitzgerald moving upon his idol, Randy Walker, tied for 2nd all-time in coaching wins here at Northwestern behind Pappy Waldorf, the well-dressed Pappy Waldorf, I should add, who had 49 back in the 30s and 40s. There's Randy Walker Terrace here at Ryan Field, and his imprint still felt in all phases of this football program. Toussaint takes it up the middle before McNall gets him by a shoelace. A pickup of 4 for Fitzgerald Toussaint. Rack Michigan has been looking for some answers with their running game, and they've given plenty of tryouts to guys like Toussaint, Shaw, Smith, and even Hopkins.
Yeah, I really like when Vincent Smith comes in the ball game because he just gives them so many different elements. Maybe not the most prototypical running back. He's a shorter guy, but he's great in pass protection. He can give them a whole lot of options as far as throwing and running the football. We saw that last week against Minnesota.
And here is Toussaint, flag on the play. He's coming off of a career-high 108 yards on just 11 carries against Minnesota. A pickup of 12 if it stands, but it is against Michigan. And the penalties continue to pile up.
Offense, 72. 10-yard penalty. Replay second down.
That's Mark Hughey, the fifth-year senior from Wyoming, Michigan.
But you got to think that Brady Hoke and his staff, here's the right tackle, Mark Hughey right here. He's going to be the one guilty for the penalty. And Michigan's just shooting themselves in the foot with penalties right now. 3 penalties for 35 yards so far this first half. And they've been picking up good plays, and then they've been getting negated by penalties.
Well, Brady Hoke's been waiting a while for this game to kick off. He told our Mike Hall and step into the office that he doesn't eat before kickoff. Mike said, I understand 12 starts, but what about a 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock start? Nope, nothing. And so he's been fasting a bit today, you could say. Here's the option. Robinson tried to cut it back up inside. He had nowhere to go. Tyler Scott followed him down the line. No gain for Michigan.
Well, that's exactly how you defend the option. You get Tyler Scott, number 97, to key in on the quarterback. He's responsible for Denard Robinson, and then their strong side linebacker Colin Ellis, number 45, was responsible for the pitch player. Had it perfectly defended, and they were able to stop the option play by Robinson.
Benrick Mark is in the game as a spy for Northwestern. 3 down linemen, and Mark in for the Wildcats. 3rd and 15. Mark's only job is to shadow Denard Robinson and keep him from breaking a long run. Now he comes on a blitz. Robinson throws. Incomplete. He was looking for Dillio. Peters with the coverage for Northwestern. 4th and 15.
So you can see that Mike Hankwitz, the defensive coordinator for Northwestern, will also take a couple of gambles himself. He sends Vendrick Mark on the blitz right there, which left a wide open hole. If Denard Robinson decided to run, he had a receiver open. He just missed his target.
Will Hager up. 2nd straight game punting for Michigan. Mark, who was just in on defense, now set to return. He's got great speed, and he's elusive. Here goes number 5. And the do-everything man from Tomball, Texas, takes it all the way to the 41. A 20-yard return for Northwestern's Venrick Mark. Mark blitz on the last play. And he blitzes his way into Michigan territory on the punt return.
14-7 here at Ryan Field, and keep an eye on the Michigan defense. Their head coach, after Northwestern scored those first 2 touchdowns, immediately went to the defensive line there on the bench and said, hey, look, we need to get off our blocks. We need to pressure more, and it's something that we had talked about, Rack, and it goes both ways. Fitz actually told us he prefers that pressure.
Especially with Dan Purse at quarterback. This one tipped, but then hauled in by Dunsmore. If you're wondering why Brady Hoke would go to the defensive line, even though Jerry Montgomery, he said, is doing a great job with the D-line, Hoke is an old D-line coach, and he's involved with those guys each and every practice. He admitted to us that sometimes keeps him away from head coaching duties he doesn't want to deal with, but he loves being there in the trenches with his big guys.
Well, and if you're one of the players on the defensive line, you got to love it, because you can never take a play off because the head coach is always looking at you. But the flip side of it is you're going to get to be a great defensive lineman playing for a guy like Brady Hoke.
Adonis Smith in the backfield with Pursa. That was Dunsmore in motion. And on the zone read, this is Smith. Got a big run for a first down to set up a touchdown. He takes it just shy of the marker. A pickup of 2. 3rd and 1 now for this Northwestern offense, which has been operating Full speed ahead and running that wildcat tempo now out of the shotgun. Again, straight ahead run on the read. Smith right at the marker. Martin was in on the tackle for Michigan.
A little bit of a blow to the Northwestern ball club last week. Obviously lost Mike Trumpy for the rest of the season for a ACL injury, but guys like Adonis Smith, Pat Fitzgerald mentioned he was very excited. He's been battling some injuries, but he's got back into the ball game. They're really excited what he brings this offense.
Jeff Budzine has only attempted 3 field goals. This would be a long one, so they're going to line up to go for it on 4th and inches. Out of the shotgun. Option. Persa. Smith. Stop! Submarine by Kovacs. The former walk-on comes up with the biggest play of the quarter for the Michigan defense.
We just talked about how Northwestern did an outstanding job of defending the option from Denard and company. But you talk about Jordan Kovacs just screaming to the ball carrier. Makes an outstanding open field tackle. You'll see him up at the top of your screen. Just comes screaming into the picture. Makes a huge open field tackle on Adonis Smith to get the ball back to his offense.
What a great story. He's Jordan Kovacs, the Ohio native, who always dreamed of playing for Michigan. Student body tryouts gave him an opportunity to make the team. He was forced to make it twice after a knee injury denied him his first opportunity. And now he's their second leading tackle. Bernard Robinson with a lead blocker in front of him, once again trying to fight through traffic, and Tyler Scott, pickup of 1.
Well, speaking of Kovacs, let's take another look at him. Here he is on the left-hand side of your screen, and he will just scream. He's going to read this play perfectly, sees the option coming, and he just comes up and makes an outstanding open field tackle. Again, tough tackle for any player. Safety, linebacker in the open field, a running back so shifty, but a great job of getting him down on the ground.
Kovacs' father was a defensive back, a walk-on at Michigan, and he's following in the family tradition. Toussaint with the pickup of 7. Now let's take it to Mike Hall in our Chicago studio for Discover Card Game Break.
Tom, believe it or not, more scoring in your game's first quarter than in the entire Penn State-Iowa game. Kevin Hapley, the only touchdown right here, 13-3 your final. As you said earlier, it's not pretty, but Penn State is quietly 5-1, Tom.
All right, thanks, Mike. 3rd and 1 now for Michigan. They had all the emotion and momentum after that 3rd down stop a moment ago. Now a full house backfield. Hopkins is the fullback now out of the eye. Toussaint lowers his head. He needed 1.5 yards. I don't think he got it.
Talked about that power I formation. They had Steve Watson and Stephen Hopkins, number 33, a guy that's a running back, but he's been starting to take some snaps at the fullback position. They come up a little short, and I think this is the right decision by Brady Hoke to punt this football. No reason to take any chances. Still a lot of time left here in the second quarter.
Pat Fitzgerald is leaving his defense in, with the exception of Mark, who's in as a returner, as they try to guard against a possible Michigan fake near midfield.
Of the first half.
And Michigan uses a timeout. Immediately, the Northwestern coaches converged on Fitzgerald and saw something out of that Michigan personnel grouping.
Well, anytime you get in between the 40s here in a punt situation, a lot of times this is the best time to bring pressure, is the first part of it. But anytime it's 4th and short like this, you got to be thinking punt safe. You don't want them to run any type of fake to try to pick up the first down. So that's the reason why you saw a timeout. Both teams want to make sure they've got the right play call on here.
14-7, the Northwestern lead after Michigan struck first. 14 unanswered for Northwestern, and 2 takeaways for the Northwestern defense.
2.
I put 6 seconds. They want to put 6 seconds back on the game clock. Here, 6:32 is what Scott McElwee requested. There's Al Borges, who was the offensive coordinator along with Hoke at San Diego State, where they produced 2 great years on Montezuma Mesa, and Borges really made his name in the SEC with Jason Campbell and company at Auburn.
Oh boy, did he ever have a good team there. You talked about Jason Campbell, Ronnie Brown, Cadillac Williams, and you know, it's very similar coming to Michigan, when you got a guy that's so dynamic like Denard Robinson, was the exact same thing at Auburn. He had so many guys that could make plays for him.
All right, Michigan keeps the punter on the sideline. Denard in, out of the shotgun on 4th and 1. Borges dials up an opportunity here. And now Northwestern needs to use a timeout.
Northwestern, their first charge timeout.
And so the chess game continues. 6:32 to go in the second quarter. Michigan showed they would go for it. The Buick Human Highlight Reel celebrates former NCAA athletes doing great things in their community. Let's take a look at one of those stories now. Well, a little bit of gamesmanship here between the two head coaches. Michigan brings out their offense once again on 4th and short. Are you surprised they show that they're going to go for it?
I am surprised. I think the right decision right now in this part of the ball game, 6.5 minutes left in the second quarter, is to punt it. If you don't pick it up, you're giving this Northwestern offense, which has been playing with a lot of momentum, a short field to go down and put points on the board.
Vincent Smith is the running back next to Denard Robinson. Robinson will keep it. He's got room, and he's upended after he picks up the first down. But Ibrahim Campbell needed less than 1. He got 3. And a Michigan first down.
Guess that's the reason why I'm up here in the booth, right, Tom?
Well, it seemed like the element of surprise is what was in Michigan's favor 3 plays ago when they first tried it before back-to-back timeouts.
Right, then you saw a couple of timeouts, and the surprise wasn't there anymore. But I think Brady Hoke is feeling, you know what, I've got the most dynamic quarterback in college football. I got confidence in him to pick up a half a yard.
1st and 10, Michigan. This is Smith. And Smith brought down by Vince Brown, but after a pickup of 7.
You get a chance to see Vincent Smith and what he brings to this offense. Of course, last week against Minnesota, ran for a touchdown, caught a touchdown, threw a touchdown. The trifecta, as we call it, that's the versatility that he brings to this offense.
First Michigan player in their modern football history to pull off that trifecta. And replacing the backfield now by Fitzgerald Toussaint. Northwestern shows blitz. Robinson runs against the blitz the opposite way, and he's got a big gain. Shoelace forced out of bounds at the 30, a pickup of 17.
Saw the blitz come from Michigan's left-hand side of the formation, but they had the right play call on. Denard keeper to the right-hand side, or the bottom of your screen, leaves Northwestern a little bit light as far as their coverage. It's the reason why Denard's able to pick up so much and move the chains for a first down.
And in terms of Benrick Mark's usage, the idea that he would shadow or spy on Robinson was to protect against plays just like that. On the ground, Toussaint, and he's pulled down from behind by Tyler Scott, pickup of 5.
Now Borges and his staff will take that type of play every single time on first down. If you can pick up 4 to 5 yards, he's now got so many options, especially as we get close to the red zone, of the type of plays that he can dial up. I would like to think that you're going to see some type of play action or short pass right now. See if they can't keep that Northwestern defense on their heels.
Well, Denard goes under center. He's done a lot of play action under center. This is only his 5th time out of the shotgun this game. And they do just that. Steps to set up the screen, and he's got room. Gallen, touchdown, Michigan. A 25-yard catch and run on the wide receiver screen to Jeremy Gallen.
The second time Michigan's dialed up this screen to the backside. Again, they bring out their offensive tackle. This time Mark Hughey gets just enough of the defense, and Gallen's able to get in for the touchdown.
It took a 4th down conversion to keep the drive alive. And Brendan Gibbons for the extra point. 4:13 to go before the break. We are all tied up in Evanston. 8 plays, 67 yards, and Denard leads Michigan to the promised land once again. 14 all from Ryan Field.
What's
BTN introduces BTN Live Big, the initiative to recognize and inspire community service efforts throughout the Big Ten and the world. To live big is to find a cause that you're passionate about and do something about it. Don't miss an all-new BTN Live Big, hosted by former Wolverine Dahani Jones and presented by Buick, Monday at 7:30 Eastern on BTN. And he joins us here in the booth, the man, the myth, the legend, former Wolverine Dahani Jones. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
You know, you step into the TV business. Rack and I just call football. You're actually changing the world.
Well, we'd like to think so. And, you know, everybody within the Big Ten community is focused on philanthropy, and that's what Live Big is really all about. BTN Live Big, presented by Buick, is really trying to inspire the young people of the Big Ten community to give back, highlighting great people like Charles Woodson. I mean, there's people within the Big Ten community that are doing great things.
Well, it's a great story, and it's a great show if you haven't caught it just yet. Mark kind of fumbled the return, and now he takes it out nearly to the 20-yard line. A good return after a fumble of such right at the top. Now, you and Rec kind of broke into the TV business together in one way, right, Derek?
Yeah, a few years ago, we both attended the NFL's broadcast boot camp. And, Donna, you've got to have been having a lot of fun ever since that has kind of taken off for you.
Well, I'm definitely having a great time. I mean, I've been able to do a lot of different things. I'm on the Travel Channel, having a Dahani Tackles the Globe, but then also now with the Big Ten Network and BTN Live Big, which is an exceptional experience. So I definitely haven't reached your level yet, but I'm working on it.
Dan Persa is in at quarterback for Northwestern, and he gets rid of it quickly. This is Dunsmore on the pitch and catch. So obviously, you guys were in the Big Ten at roughly the same time. Big number 55.
Look at that stance. You see that?
Noise,
passion in the eyes. 55. Look at that. That's perfect linebacker position. That's perfect pursuit.
You were living big in the maize and blue before you even started this initiative. Ebert now on the long pass and the swing out picks up a Northwestern first down. Let's talk about Michigan football for a little bit. This most recent era, especially defensively, in many people's eyes, really didn't live up to Michigan football. Are you seeing the return of some of that under Brady Hoke and company?
Absolutely, and that's exactly what Greg Madison is going to do. What he's bringing to the table is that mentality. What Brady Hoke is able to do is inspire that passion in the guys on the field to make the plays that they need to. You saw earlier on the 4th down and 1 when they stopped the ball. That was an exceptional play. I don't think that would have happened a little bit ago. All
right, Ebert with the carry there for Northwestern, and the Wildcats continue this up-tempo offense, and now they will use a timeout facing a 2nd and 3. What do you think about Northwestern's up-tempo offense? Their goal, Dahani, was to come in, and they said we may not be bigger up front, but we figure if we can stay up-tempo, we may either tire them down or get an opportunity for some big plays.
Well, it definitely keeps you off balance as a defensive unit, but if you have practiced that throughout the week, which I'm sure Greg Madison is able to do, then you're able to respond. I mean, of course, in the beginning of the game, there was a couple of times when there was an interception, and of course they scored, but now it's back and it's tied.
Have you seen anyone in college football as remarkable and as energy-driven as Denard Robinson?
No. I mean, he's an exceptional quarterback. He really brings something spectacular to the field, and just the fact that he doesn't tie up his shoes is even the biggest story of it all. I mean, of course, everybody knows about that, but the way that he has passion and purpose on the field, the way that he plays, and just the fact that everybody really looks up to him, and he really takes control when he's in the huddle.
Donnie, I've said this a couple of times, and you've played against Michael Vick throughout your NFL career. He's the closest thing, in my opinion, is what we saw with Michael Vick as far as the speed from the quarterback position.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the way that he's able to, I mean, he rolls out of the pocket anytime he wants. Anytime he wants to keep the ball, I believe it's his option, obviously. And he's able to make a lot of big plays that way.
So he doesn't tie his shoes, but you tie your ties, and I know this neckwear is something special to you.
Well, of course, even with BTN Live Big, presented by Buick, and all the great things that they've done, I've been able to give back through bow tie cause and work with other nonprofits and help them in their catalytic philanthropy. So we've created the BTN Live Big bow tie.
That's fantastic. It's just nonstop. I mean, Rack, you and I are just calling formations and yardage gained, and here's another one for Dunsmore. He takes it past midfield before he's finally forced out of bounds. Under 3 minutes to go in a gain of 17. Dahani, thanks for stopping by. It's always great, and it's great to know that you and everybody at BTN are working so hard to make a difference.
Well, we appreciate it, and we just want those young people to commit to those community service hours so they can possibly win a $1,000 scholarship.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all. And neither is Person. He uncorks one deep. Caught! First down, Northwestern. Christian Jones, the freshman from Houston, with the grab.
Exactly what this Northwestern offense needed to get this crowd back in the ball game. You can see Dan Persa getting back to what he did so well in 2010, taking a shot downfield and taking advantage of the Michigan defense.
A 39-yard pickup, now 1st and goal for Northwestern. Great hands by Jones.
And Blake Countess, number 18, had pretty good coverage right there, but the 50-50 ball was just a nice play by Jones going up there to make a play.
This play is under review. Blake Countess is in the game and playing sometimes in a nickel situation, but also for the injured Troy Woolfolk at left cornerback. Woolfolk suffered an ankle injury at the end of that Minnesota game last week. Second time he's gotten his ankles busted up, and he's been on the field some tonight, but Countess trying to step up in his stead.
I think from that angle right there, you can't really see anything. This would be a good shot right here. Looks like Jones has his hands on the football, but as he turns toward the sidelines, that's when you lose it a little.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Completed.
All 80 yards on this drive for Northwestern have come through the air. And Persa 5 for 6 to set up this 1st and goal. And now Persa on the sideline, Coulter in. And if past history is any indication, we may see option here for Northwestern. Schmidt and Smith, the running backs, and Coulter checks with the sideline. There goes Schmidt. Coulter, option. Smith, touchdown Northwestern. What an answer by the Wildcats.
Northwestern.
And the extra point is good. Michigan pulls back in front after Robinson tied it up at 14. Now Northwestern with a quick strike drive, running that up-tempo offense to cash in with just 1:52 taken off the clock.
Well, we just saw Christian Jones, number 14, make a nice play on the reception. You can see him right at the bottom of your screen. Does an outstanding job as a blocker this time from the receiver position. Just opens that hole wide open for Adonis Smith. You can see him again right there. Maybe a little bit of a hold. Got away with it a little bit against Thomas Gordon, but he gets into the end zone.
Their first 8 touchdowns of the season came on the ground for Northwestern, and now their last 4 have come on the ground.
Well, Dan Persa, you can see right here, he's just given his receiver, Christian Jones, an opportunity to go up and make a play. And you talk about Blake Countess, one of the promising young defensive backs. He was actually lobbying for an offensive pass interference call, but you got to give Christian Jones, the freshman, some credit for going up and making a tough catch at a big point in this ball game.
21-14, Northwestern back in front. Brady Hoke has watched as Northwestern has done it tonight. On each scoring drive, they've used 2 different quarterbacks, Persa and Coulter. From the 5. And tripped up at about the 22. Venrick Mark with the special teams tackle for Northwestern.
We talked about how important this young man has been early on in this ball game through the first 28 minutes of game time. You've seen him on offense, you've seen him on defense, you've seen him returning on special teams. Now he comes down and makes a big play on kickoff coverage. This is the reason why the coaches felt comfortable with him playing on defense, was because he's had the coverage reps where he's gone out there and made tackles.
Now Vincent Smith in with Denard Robinson. 1st and 10 for Michigan. Designed Quarterback run, nowhere to go. Colin Ellis with the stop. Is it me, or has Northwestern sold out against Denard's quarterback runs?
Well, they're obviously keying in on him, and you're seeing 11 guys on the defense here for the Wildcats rally to the football. Everybody's making a concerted effort to get to number 16.
And now Michigan goes quick snap up tempo, but it doesn't pay off. Roy Roundtree was the intended receiver. Coverage by Jervin Matthews.
And I like the hurry up right there by Michigan. They caught Northwestern a little bit off guard. Roundtree was wide open against the sidelines. That's a ball that Denard Robinson's got to deliver between the numbers. Jervin Matthews was a little about 5 yards off of Roundtree. That would have been a first down and get out of bounds to stop the clock.
Michigan has struggled in this situation throughout the season. 3rd and 11. Robinson rolls the pocket, has a man deep, goes for a first down to Hemingway out at the 45. He had Roundtree deep and open on a post, but instead went underneath the Hemingway. It's still a gain of 23.
Once again, we're seeing big plays from junior Hemingway. Got to give him a lot of credit for the concentration on this play. You can see that Jervin Matthews, number 3, jumps up right at the last second there, almost gets his hands on the ball. Good concentration there by Hemingway to be able to bring that football in.
1st and 10, Michigan. Running their hurry-up offense, and they go to a slant that time to Jeremy Gallen. And Gallen picks up 13 on the first down play. Northwestern, perhaps because Michigan has been up-tempo, has been stuck with their base defense here, Rack, instead of a nickel defense. Is that an issue for them on this drive?
Well, absolutely. When you've got all the receivers that Michigan has in, they've got Hemingway, they've got Dilio in there, they've got a lot of speed players in there, so Northwestern's trying to find an opportunity to switch and get that extra defensive back on the field.
Instead, they've got Colin Ellis, the outside linebacker, out in coverage. Robinson goes that way, a little too high and incomplete for Roundtree. Coverage by Matthews, 2nd and 10 coming.
We saw Denard the past couple of plays really kind of settled in throwing the football, and then you see a little bit of the erratic throwing that he can give you every once in a while. Ball was high to Roundtree. He's got to continue to try to get that ball down into his body. His receivers got the ability to bring it in. They've had some momentum, and those incomplete passes are going to slow down the drive.
So 2nd and 10. Still no nickel back on the field for Northwestern. Robinson lets it go. Intercepted. 3rd pick of the game. This time it's Peters. And Brian Peters with his 2nd interception of the season. Northwestern seizes the momentum again. A 20-yard return for the senior Peters. 2nd straight game with a pick for Peters.
Well, last week he had a beautiful one-handed interception in the end zone, and this ball was just clearly overthrown. I'm not quite sure if that ball was going to Hemingway, but that was about 10 yards over his head. And again, Peters doing exactly what a safety needs to do. Read the quarterback, break on the football. His 2nd pick now in 2 games.
18th straight start for Brian Peters. And he takes it away. Persa has been magnificent through the air. He dumps this one underneath, and Coulter takes it for a Northwestern first down. Great catch and run for the quarterback turned receiver, Kane Coulter. He picks up 17.
Well, you talk about a mismatch right there. Craig Rowe, the defensive end at 6'5", 270, was forced into coverage on Kane Coulter. I think Dan Persa's going to take that matchup every day of the week.
Coulter was the starting quarterback the first few games of the season for Northwestern. 2 of those, I should say 3 of those on the road. He started 2 of them on the road against Boston College and Army. Persa lets it go, deep sideline route, and that's caught by Ebert. Another Northwestern first down, pickup of 12. Wow, what momentum Northwestern could grab with a score here before half.
I mean, just another outstanding throw. You mentioned a pickup of 12 yards, but that was probably about a 30-yard throw across the field, right against the sideline, just threw an absolute strike. That, to me, is the difference right now between Dan Persa and Denard Robinson. Persa is such a better passer. Now you're starting to see him settle into his groove that he showed us last year.
Out of the spread once again, 5 wide, empty backfield, another slant. Coulter again, and Kane Coulter takes it inside the 10, down to the 7-yard line. 15 yards on that run for the sophomore from Denver.
A lot of people might think, well, how good is Kane Coulter going to be as a receiver? You got to remember, quarterbacks have some of the best hands on the football field, and you're starting to see that display by Kane Coulter.
Quick snap again. Persa keeps it, and he dives forward to take it towards the 3. Kenny Demmons with the tackle from Michigan. 31 ticks remain on the clock as it rolls. Northwestern has 1 timeout remaining. How many shots can they take to the end zone here? Second and goal.
You figure they're going to try to take one through the air right here, and Persa's got to get things going here. The clock continues to tick down. This is unlike this offense, usually so good in the hurry up.
But also run with 1 timeout. Persa to the end zone. Incomplete. Trying to find Rashad Lawrence. So now 6 seconds remaining. That took an awful long time for that to develop. Stay tuned for the Buffalo Wild Wings halftime report. Scores and highlights from all of today's games, including Illinois staying undefeated. 6-0 for the first time since 1951. Michigan's trying to get to 6-0, but they're in a hole here, and it could be deeper before the end of the half. Persa, time all day, off the hands of Rashad Lawrence, and that's how the half comes to an end. What about the clock management for Northwestern to close the half?
Well, you'd like to think that they've still got enough time to run a play. It looks like they're going to put a couple seconds back on the clock here, so Northwestern is going to get the opportunity. Looked as if the clock had already expired. I think that 6 to 7 seconds is enough time to throw one pass play in the end zone. The officials are going to discuss this one and make sure that this is the right call.
Well, regardless of if they get time or not, you would think that Northwestern could have gotten at least one more look at the end zone.
Well, they had the touchdown right there. You mentioned Rashad Lawrence. That ball was in his hands. He came wide open.
The ruling on the field is that time ran out on the play. The half is over.
And so that's how it will end for Northwestern. They didn't mean that the half was over, even though it was a confusing announcement by Scott McElwee. He was just saying that was the ruling on the field, meaning that's what they're going to review upstairs in the replay booth with Jim Kemmerling. So the ruling on the field that needs to be overturned if there's one more play is that there was or was not time left on the clock.
Well, going back to that play, Rashad Lawrence, that ball was in his hands. Should have been a touchdown, but 6-7 seconds on the clock is generally enough time to get off one pass play in the end zone.
Ball hit the ground.
I said 2 seconds remain on the clock when the ball hit the ground. That's when the play ends. Sometimes, you know, it can be confusing. Sometimes there's a natural lag time. Other times they take it exact. But this will be one last opportunity for Northwestern. Jeff Budjean on to attempt a 20-yard field goal to add to the Northwestern lead. And Budjean punches it through. One more look at the drop that stopped time and allowed Northwestern an opportunity to add points to the board. Clock at the top left corner of your screen, and indeed 2 seconds remained on the clock for Northwestern. Well, a high-energy first half finally comes to a close. And the guys down on the field ready to take over with the Buffalo Wild Wings halftime report right after this.
Down by 7.
Well, if you like offense, the first half was a thriller. Northwestern leads by 10, and moments ago, Lisa Byington caught up with Wildcats head coach Pat Fitzgerald.
Coach, your secondary was criticized last week. What is different for them here tonight?
Well, we got to play a lot better, Lisa. We're still not playing very well, but we're getting turnovers and we're ending drives. So made a lot of corrections at halftime, just little things. Communication, same thing. Sprint out, sail route, get more depth. Just fundamental things to those young guys. Just trying to coach them up. They're getting a little baptism under fire, but they're getting better. And we keep winning the turnover battle, we're going to win a game.
You've created some turnovers there in the red zone.
Yeah.
On the flip side, with your offense, you welcome the pressure. You said bring it with the Michigan pressure. How have you been able to kind of be effective with that with your two quarterbacks?
Well, we've got answers. That's what we do. And I think I told you yesterday that we expected some things, and now we got to get ready to adjust again. Coach Madison's a tremendous football coach. He'll have adjustments that we're going to have to adjust to again.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Well, Brady Hoke is the first Michigan coach since Benny Oosterbaan trying to become the first to start his career 6-0 at Michigan. Oosterbaan led the Wolverines to the 1948 national championship. Steve Flaherty, junior from Chicago, kicks off for the Wildcats. And this drives Odoms 2 yards deep into the end zone. Michigan has been a second-half team throughout the season, but their high-powered offense seems to put up numbers in every quarter. They've outscored their opponents 86-21 in the second half. Derek, what do you think is the key for Denard Robinson to get back on track here in the second?
I think he's got to start hitting some of these plays in the passing game that he's missed in the first half. I think that's kind of brought him down a little bit, and I think that slowed down some of the drives for Michigan. Now, you don't always talk about the Wolverines as a passing offense, but when they do go through the air, I'd like to see Denard start to dial in some of these pass routes to start to get that confidence back.
Robinson started the Minnesota game perfect on his first 11 passes. Vincent Smith immediately met by Tyler Scott. No gain, in fact, a loss of a couple on first down for Michigan. First half possessions looked like this. They got off to a red-hot start, a touchdown on the first drive, then back-to-back picks before a punt on a 3-and-out, another touchdown, and finally a pick.
They've been their own worst enemy in the first half. You can see outside of the one punt, they've stopped themselves. It really hasn't been Northwestern. It's been some of the errant throws by Denard Robinson.
Threw one off his back foot. And here's Toussaint, and he is swallowed up by Tyler Scott. Back-to-back plays for the sophomore from Warren, Ohio, Tyler Scott.
Tyler Scott had a couple of fumble recoveries last week. He's playing inspired to start this second half.
So look at Michigan's first half leaders. Robinson 188 yards with 3 picks. Hemingway 4 grabs, 106 yards. And Jeremy Galloway had a touchdown catch, one of his 4 grabs. 3rd and 11. Northwestern only rushes 3. Robinson over the middle. And a Michigan first down, Roy Roundtree. Gain of 16 on 3rd and long.
You mentioned they're only rushing 3, and Denard does a nice job of finding Roy Roundtree. Gets the protection up front. You can see him running the deep dig route, as we call it. Good job of adjusting, going down to the ground, and able to bring that one in, move the chains. It's exactly what I was talking about. Get that confidence back through the passing game.
Denard back under center for just the 6th time in this game. And out of the I formation on 1st and 10. A handoff straight away to Toussaint. And Toussaint finally met after picking up a couple. David Wabusi, first-year starter at middle linebacker, with the stop after a pickup of 4 for Toussaint.
Well, again, you're seeing the running game is able to be successful for them on first down. They're getting themselves in very workable territory here in 2nd and 6. Again, I expect some play action here by Denard Robinson, try to take advantage of some of those sail routes, as Coach Fitzgerald talked to Lisa about, is what I've been calling them corners. That's the same thing as a sail route. That's where they've been able to find success early in the ballgame.
So 2nd and 6, 2 tight ends in the game, Watson and Koger. Play action as you guessed. Robinson, a little bit of pressure, steps up, lets it go, a deep ball again. Caught! First down, Michigan, Roundtree. Perhaps a push-off, but regardless, it's 1st and goal, Michigan. A gain of 57.
Saw the big play through the air in the first quarter. Once again, they were looking for that sail route to the left side, but Tyler Scott got pressure on Denard. He had to come back to the right. I almost thought they were going to call a flag on Jervin Matthews for pass interference, but again, an outstanding 50-50 play by Roundtree.
Second huge gain of the game for Michigan through the air. Hemingway had a 48-yarder to set up a scoring opportunity before. This is Toussaint, and Toussaint muscles his way to the 1-yard line. 2nd and goal coming up.
Well, we talked about Tyler Scott. You can see him with the inside rush right there, but Denard obviously got the ability to get outside. And you can see right there, athletic receivers at Michigan, both Roundtree and Hemingway, not the tallest guys at the receiver position, but tremendously athletic, able to go up and make plays against defensive coverage.
Second and goal. Robinson will take it himself, and he gets hit before he gets to the line of scrimmage by Bryce McNall, a senior from Eden Prairie, Minnesota, who's finally back healthy again. No gain.
Big play here for Al Borges and his staff. 3rd down inside the 5-yard line. Will he take a shot in the end zone through the air, or does he continue to give the ball to Denard Robinson? One thing that surprised me a little bit is Denard has had a lot of inside runs tonight. He hasn't gotten outside on the perimeter. I'd like to see them dial that up here in the second half, get him outside the tackle box.
Also, I haven't seen much option for Michigan. 3rd and goal. Here's some option. Robinson will take it himself, and Shoelace lost a shoe on his way in for a Michigan score.
Pretty fitting there for Denard Robinson, obviously known for not tying his shoes. I'm surprised that he doesn't come out of his shoes more often. You talked about the option. You can see right here, puts his foot in the ground and runs right out of his shoe. I know he's fast, but I'm surprised that doesn't happen more often.
Denard Robinson has never tied his shoes on a football field, he says. He just grew up as a kid without tying his shoes. Before long, he picked up the nickname Shoelace, and it stuck. It's his thing. And now scoring is his thing. Another touchdown for the Florida native. Sometimes there's Velcro, extra tape. And sometimes you're just so fast you run right out of your footwear. Touchdown, Michigan.
I don't want to get up.
An 8-play, 80-yard scoring drive for Denard Robinson, who is all smiles for Michigan, and for good reason. They're within 3.
Got to expect the option coming here down in the goal line, and just wonder in those Adidas shoes how strong that Velcro is, because you know, it plants right here and just runs right out of his shoe. You know, you got to think the Velcro manufacturers around the world got to just love to come visit Ann Arbor and say, we got the best stuff for your shoes, Denard.
Develop better Velcro, and the world will be the path to your equipment room. So Shoelace runs out of his shoes. And this Michigan kickoff carries out of bounds. It seems just when they have an opportunity to grab momentum, Michigan shoots itself in the foot. Here's what Northwestern did in the first half, Rack.
Well, again, we talked about the turnovers from Michigan and Denard Robinson, and Northwestern was able to take advantage of it. You can see the 3 touchdowns in the field goal. We talked about their success in the red zone, a couple of punts, but that's the reason why they had the lead through the first 30 minutes of game time. To give the Wolverines some credit coming out in that first drive in the second half, able to put a touchdown on the board.
And Persa back at quarterback for the Cats. A little bit of option with Persa. He keeps it to this time. First time he's kept it tonight. Van Bergen and Martin in on the stop along with Ryan for Michigan. First half leaders for the Wildcats. Persa through the air. Smith on the ground, and Dunsmore 6 grabs for 67 yards. That's 9 grabs over the last 3 halves of football for Drake Dunsmore. Second and 11. Persa pressured, and he gets dropped by Craig Rowe. Martin in on the bottom of the pile. The coaches told us that Martin may not have the numbers, but he's having a great season up front for Michigan.
Well, Martin and everybody else on that play on the defensive front, that pocket collapsed in a heartbeat, and you could see that Dan Persa didn't have anywhere to go. They had him from the outside and the inside. I think that was the best defensive push from that front four of Michigan that we've seen all night.
3rd and 16 for Persa. Gets hit as he throws, and he throws incomplete. He got laid out by Ryan Van Bergen, the 5th-year senior from Whitehall, Michigan.
Persa was trying to find Ebert down the middle of the field, but you can see Michigan running the twist, and Van Bergen comes through and just gets a huge hit on Dan Persa. You can see Ebert in the background trying to get a penalty, but that hit right there, your offensive line, they're going to look back at that one and going to have to apologize to the quarterback on that one. You don't want Dan Persa taking hits like that trying to throw the football.
Interesting punt formation for Northwestern. Gallen back to receive, and he says stay away at the 25. Another nice hop off the foot of Brandon Williams. 45-yard punt for Northwestern, but Dan Persa will be seeing Ryan Van Bergen in his sleep tonight. Big number 53 right up the middle to plant Persa in the Ryan Field turf. Tonight's Alumni Spotlight brought to you by Liberty Mutual features Zach Kustok of Northwestern, and went 277 straight pass attempts without an interception. But as far as this series is concerned, in Northwestern history, perhaps the most thrilling game in Ryan Field history. A shootout between Michigan and Northwestern had heroes and goats on both sides. 641 yards of offense in the first half alone. Michigan led 45-36 to start the 4th. 2 minutes later, they were down by 1. And Randy Walker's Cardiac Cats came back for a monster win that featured nearly 1,200 yards of total offense in the game, 171 yards. Robinson dropped the snap, scoops it up. Here he goes. Shoelace again with both feet moving, and he takes it to the 45. His shoes stayed on that time, and a 25-yard pickup for Denard Robinson.
Not too many people can make a play like that after a drop snap. That's usually a broken play. Quarterbacks don't go down on the ground. Let's go to 2nd down. But how about when you got number 16, he's able to get into the open field. And luckily Jordan Mabin was there. Otherwise Denard might have gone the distance.
I had a feeling when this game started, especially through 1 quarter, that we might be looking back at that 2000 matchup between these two teams. It finished under the lights at a 54-51 final. Robinson, 3 receivers out, and he goes underneath to Roy Roundtree to midfield. A pickup of 8. Mabin with the stop. And we were talking to Pat Fitzgerald yesterday, and he said, you know, sometimes when you expect high-scoring affairs, the opposite happens. He may have been wrong.
Yeah, I talked about, and I said, I threw out the number 13-9. He said, well, that would probably be a little bit lower than I would think. But, you know, when you're thinking both these potent offenses have come out, might be a 39-34 ball game, a little bit lower scoring than that, but obviously we still got a lot of game left.
2nd is short. Here's Michael Shaw. Well, pardon me, Robinson kept it, and he loses a yard. You know, I went back and watched that game the other day, found it on my TiVo. You know what really stood out to me? Northwestern's offensive coordinator, Kevin Wilson, now the head coach at Indiana, had a sweet Mike Ditka mustache.
He was rocking it, huh?
And it was perfect because they were dialing up all sorts of plays. Both teams were in a game that finished under the lights on a November night here in Evanston. 3rd and 2. Robinson will take it himself. He's got the first down. And he falls forward for a couple of more. Gain of 4. 1st and 10, Michigan.
Northwestern defensive front got exactly what they wanted. They got penetration. They got Denard to start dancing a little bit, but he was able to find just a small enough crease to get through and move the chains now inside Northwestern territory.
Devin Gardner has entered the game for Michigan at quarterback. Denard Robinson will split out to the right side of the formation. And Gardner is under center. Robinson, twin receivers. He now comes in motion. They fake the end around, pitch to the near side, and Shaw popped out of bounds after a pickup of 3 by Tyler Scott. What do you think so far, Michigan's misdirection with Devin Gardner?
I think it's been good. We obviously haven't seen it in a while. They brought it out early in the first quarter, had a little bit of success, but went away from it for a little bit. But this is the evolution that Al Borges was talking about. He said he just introduced it last week when they were running a diamond formation. Obviously, the wrinkle this week is they're putting Denard out in a wide receiver position, motioning him in and giving the defense some different looks there.
2nd and 6 now. Gardner back on the sideline next to Brady Hoke. And Robinson back behind center out of the shotgun. He's looking deep. Checks to his tight end Koger. He's got a first down and finally brought down at the 20. First half, Denard Robinson made some bad decisions in reads. Did you like that one?
Oh, absolutely. He's much more dialed in here in the second half, throwing the ball with a lot more accuracy. He seems more comfortable in the pocket. You're going to see they're trying to give the defense a look of the screen going to left, and they slide Koger underneath. I like the design of that play by Al Borges, and again, move the chains for the Wolverines back into Northwestern red zone territory.
Michigan hasn't led since it was 7-0 Wolverines in the first quarter. 8th time under center for Robinson. Here's a toss to Michael Shaw. He's trying to find the corner, and he takes a pop after a gain of 2. Brian Peters came up to meet him.
Michigan must have seen some opportunities more inside the tackle box when it comes to the running game this week, because you've seen very few plays like that going out to the perimeter. They must have felt that we could get a couple of good matchups between their offensive line and the defensive front for Northwestern, because that's where we've seen the majority of the running game's been in between the tackles.
Gardner back in at quarterback, the 6'4" sophomore from Detroit's Inkster High School. Denard Robinson once again, the twin set as a wide receiver comes in motion. Gardner wants to throw. They set up the screen, coming back the opposite way. McNall had a hand there, but couldn't get Smith, and now he's finally brought down after a pickup of 6.
It's a little bit too aggressive there by Bryce McNall. He gets over there, had plenty of time to make that tackle, and again, Vincent Smith showing his elusiveness to get away from that tackle, because it looked like McNall was going to make that play for no gain.
3rd and 3. No headset for Hope. Al Borges calling the plays from upstairs for Michigan. They've converted 8 of 10 third downs tonight. Option. Robinson keeps. First down, Michigan. And he dances his way towards the goal line. Down at the 1 is Denard Robinson. 1st and goal, Michigan after a pickup of 12.
Second time in this ball game now we've seen Michigan get the right play call on. They brought pressure from the opposite side, from the right side of the offense. Leaves them a little bit lighter on the left side, which is where Denard Robinson ran that football. Again, successful play. Now you're inside the 5 on the 1-yard line. Expect to see a little bit more of that option that's worked so well for Michigan.
And Robinson leaves. He looks a little shaken up. 10th play of the drive coming, and Gardner will operate out of the eye. Handoff, Toussaint, goal line. He didn't make it. No gain for Fitzgerald Toussaint, who tried to go over the top.
You know, they feel real good about Devin Gardner as far as him running the football, but inside the 1, they just want to take a shot at Toussaint trying to go over the top. Officials rule him down a little early. But don't be surprised if they try to get Devin Gardner out on the perimeter. He's a very fast quarterback, not as fast as Denard Robinson. When you compare him against the rest of the league, he can definitely handle his own.
Hopkins is the tailback. He leaves the formation for Toussaint. Again, straight ahead. Again, stoned at the goal line. Is Michigan limited with Devin Gardner at quarterback?
I think they're limited a little bit, but what you're seeing is that Northwestern is daring them to run Devin Gardner around the outside. They're going to say, you know what, we're going to load up the center of the box because we know that you're going to come with the inside dive play. But if you're Al Borges, you've got to think that he's got to come with either some type of play action pass or get him outside on the perimeter because Northwestern is crowding the center of the tackle box.
Denard Robinson on the sidelines for Michigan. He came off and got the attention of a trainer a couple of plays ago. And Michigan uses a timeout. I wonder if, as Robinson flexes that left hand, I wonder if they're going to try to get Denard back in this game facing a key 3rd and goal. The helmet is still off Shoelace. Back to Evanston in a moment. Third and goal now. Denard Robinson on the sidelines for Michigan. He took a shot and he went down hard. He's been flexing his left hand, so it's up to the freshman Devin Gardner. Full house backfield for Michigan. What do you expect out of this formation?
Well, once again, they've got that double I formation with Watson leading. Last time they did it, they ran double lead to the left-hand side of the formation.
Here it is. Play action. Gardner on the naked boot. He's got room and a step. Touchdown, Michigan.
They ran the double lead, giving the ball to the tailback, and Al Borges comes back with the quarterback keep. We talked about Devin Gardner still being a fleet of foot quarterback and just had enough juice in the tank to get to the pylon.
That's something out of the Denard Robinson playbook. Here's Gibbons. Michigan in front for just the 2nd time tonight. And it's Devin Gardner with his 2nd career touchdown. Will Robinson return? Will it matter for Michigan? Gardner with the fancy footwork to get in for the Maize and Blue. Michigan back in front, 28-24, 2:58 to go in the 3rd from Ryan Field. And now for the enlist quarterback comparison. We only have 2 on there. By the end of the night, we might need 4.
Obviously, Kane Coulter and Devin Gardner been getting snaps at the quarterback position. Dan Persa was leading everything as far as the passing game in the first half, but Denard, up until he came out of the ball game, really caught fire through the air in the first 13, 12 minutes of the second half.
Jacob Schmidt perhaps could have let that one go out of bounds. Instead, he takes it to the 30, and there's a flag on the back end of the play, a 23-yard return for Schmidt. And that will go against Northwestern. Derek, Northwestern.
During the return, holding, receiving team, number 34, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Tyrus Jones got flagged. Northwestern had great success running up-tempo, especially to close the second half. Would you expect that they go back to it here?
Absolutely. That's what's been successful for them. And the reason why the game has slowed down a little bit is because Michigan's been able to come out and put 14 points on the board. And it's taken this crowd out of the ball game, but expect Dan Persa to get back to that up-tempo offense. Now you've got the Michigan defense that's rested up a little bit.
He dumps it to Dunsmore, who takes it up to the 23 before he's popped out of bounds. J.T. Floyd with the stop after a gain of 5.
Still a lot of time left in this ball game. Obviously, almost 18 minutes of game clock. There's no reason to panic. It's just a 4-point ball game. And Dan Persa and Kane Coulter, because I'm assuming that we'll see him throughout the second half, they just got to be smart with the football. Don't try to take any chances that they don't have to.
Empty backfield now for Persa. And he sprints out to throw, complete to Ebert. And that will be a Northwestern first down after a gain of 11.
That's a two-way go right there. He's either got the play action pass off of it or he's got the flip option underneath it to Dunsmore. And Christian Jones was able to bring the ball in for a first down.
So it was Jones, not Ebert, who had that grab for Northwestern. 1st and 10 for the Wildcats. And now they go out to Ebert. He's got great blocking from Dunsmore. Takes it past the 40. Thomas Gordon with the tackle, pickup of 6. You can see the Michigan defenders hustling back to their spot, and they are able to get a sub in as Rowe left for Jabril Black. Tough to find a sub in an up-tempo offense. Persa steps up, throws, batted, and picked off, intercepted by Michigan. Brandon Hawthorne came up with it after the deflection. Just the 3rd turnover of the season for Northwestern.
You can always see the tides turning a little bit. Tough break there for Northwestern. They had a good play call on right here, and the ball just bounces off the pads of Dunsmore, and it's just an outstanding play. That ball might have hit the turf. I wouldn't be surprised if the officiating crew takes another look at this one. You can see that the ball pops out, and there it is. The officials are going to take another look at it. They're going to try to get a playoff, but you can see right when he hit the ground, the ball pops up in the air a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see if the replay officials consider that ball coming out of his hands.
For a completed catch or an interception, you have to take the ball to the ground.
The Northwestern head coach is challenging the ruling on the field of an interception.
Pat Fitzgerald had a good look at it from the Northwestern sideline. Northwestern coming into this weekend only had 2 turnovers, 2nd in the nation to Stanford. What do you think? Did you see it again slowed down?
Slowing down. It does look like the ball might have jarred it loose a little bit. Again, you've got to have indisputable video evidence that shows otherwise. The call on the field was a catch, and right at the end you can see the ball move just a little bit. It's a tough call right here for the officials. It looks like it's clearly in his hands at the start.
I think the question that they're going to look at is the tip of the football, and was it on the ground before he hauled it in? Certainly didn't look like his hands were underneath the football.
Every play in college football is reviewable, but you got a chance to see Pat Fitzgerald step in right there and make sure it's reviewed. Obviously knowing this is a pivotal point in the ball game and didn't want the Wolverines to get an offensive snap in.
After further review, the ruling on the field of an interception is confirmed. Northwestern will be charged a timeout for their use of the challenge. First down.
Timeout may come into play late in this game, but even more important, Northwestern gives it up, and Michigan back on the field, and Denard Robinson back at quarterback for Michigan.
Can't fault Pat Fitzgerald, though. You've got to take that challenge right there if the officials don't stop the game. As you mentioned, that timeout may come into play. They've only got 2 left now with about 15, 17 minutes of game clock left. Be interesting to see if they could have used that 3rd timeout once we get to the end of the ball game. Robinson was flexing his left hand on the sideline at the tail end of that scoring drive a moment ago for Michigan. Let's see if that is an issue here for the Wolverines quarterback. Play action. Robinson wants to go deep down the sideline. He's got a man, but overthrows him. For an update on Denard Robinson's injury, let's go down to the sideline and Lisa Byington.
Tom, it looked like he was just trying to shake something off with his left hand. What I thought was telling is that the whole time the defense was on the field, he wasn't working out with a trainer. In fact, he was standing by himself with a headset on. The offensive line coach turned to him, asked him about taking snaps. He just kind of smiled with his, Denard smiled and said, "Man, I'm okay."
Well, we'll see if he's okay. That pass sailed over Gallen's head by nearly 10 yards. And now he takes off on the run with the ball in his left hand, and he's got room straight up the gut. And Denard Robinson takes it all the way down to the 22-yard line. A pickup of 22 for Robinson.
Well, Michael Shaw, his tailback, got an excellent cut block on Bryce McNall coming through the hole. There you can see it coming into your living, who cuts out the inside leg, which just opens that hole wide open. And anytime number 16 gets into a whole lot of grass in front of him, here's another look at it. Perfect technique on the cut block, gets McNall out of the hole, and Denard does the rest.
Play clock at 2. Robinson, another quarterback lead. And perhaps he gets 1 yard. Let's take you back down to Chicago. Mike Hall in the studio for Discover Card Game Break.
Well, Tom, it's staying close where you guys are, but not the same in Lincoln. Ohio State and Nebraska. This is Carlos Hyde going 63 yards for the score. That makes it 17-3. The road team, Ohio State. A field goal was added. They are almost at halftime, and it is all Buckeyes so far.
Wow, surprise there for the Buckeyes, who have found some offense. Here's Devin Gardner, play action, settled it well, and he goes underneath for a Michigan first down. Jeremy Jackson, the sophomore from Ann Arbor, picks up 17.
Like the composure there by Devin Gardner. He's got two guys in his face. He's got to get rid of the football quickly. He was able to find Jackson downfield and deliver a strike. You can see right here, Nico Mafuli, the tackle, and Tyler Scott providing the pressure, but he gets rid of the football. Excellent delivery there by Gardner.
So Jackson takes a seat from Michigan. Denard Robinson back into the game. And Robinson takes off once again. Has a nose for the goal line, but gets stopped. We have not seen Denard Robinson throw since he suffered that hand injury on his left non-throwing hand. Since then, plenty of quarterback leads. Brady Hoke trying to point his Michigan team to a 6-0 start. The shootout continues from Evanston, 3 quarters in the books, and it's a 4-point Michigan lead.
The State Farm post-game show after the game on BTN.
Call it the grounded jump around, hands up in the air here to start the 4th quarter for the home team Wildcats. Trying to step up defensively because Michigan is looking at a 2nd and goal. Robinson hands it off. This is Shaw, and he's in. Touchdown, Michigan. 14 unanswered for the Wolverines if the extra point goes.
Just impressive to watch the Michigan wide receivers blocking out on the edge. You can see how important the running game is, and they know that if they get Denard Robinson, Michael Shaw, the rest of the running backs some room, they'll get into the end zone. Really nice block out on the perimeter by Jeremy Gallen to get Michael Shaw in the end zone.
And Michigan has surged here in the 2nd half. Northwestern lost a lead last week at Illinois. But the Cardiac Cats are known for coming from behind. What do they need to do now? Down 11 with just 5 ticks into the 4th quarter.
Well, we talked about it back in the 3rd quarter. We mentioned that Coulter and Purse have got to be smart with the football. They did have the deflection, which turned into the extra possession for Michigan, and they've been turning those possessions into touchdowns. Again, they've got to come back, protect the football. They can't afford another interception at this point, and they've got to up the tempo on offense.
A deflected pass led to an interception by Michigan. Set up that scoring drive for the Wolverines. Venrick Mark and Jacob Schmidt deep to return for Northwestern. Mark's waiting for a chance. Here he is from the 6. And the Texas native takes it. That's a 25, still on his feet. He's going to reverse field. Nowhere to go for Mark. And he had it out to nearly the 28. And he circles back to the 19. Josh Furman with the tackle on special teams. Only a 14-yard return after it looked like a 24-yard return.
Well, Venrick Mark is one of the best kick returners in Northwestern history. You can see he's trying to make a play here in the open field. He just gets out of a tackle, actually runs backward and loses a couple of yards, but nonetheless trying to make a big play for the Wildcats.
Persa trying to go back to work. Jacob Schmidt has it in his hands, and he powers his way forward for a gain of 6, 2nd and 4 coming.
Greg Madison, I'm sure, is anticipating a heavy dose of pass here in the second half. 14.5 minutes left in the ballgame. Still plenty of time for Northwestern, but Persa had success in the first half, and I think he knows that they're going to be going more through the air here in this last quarter, so you'll probably see more coverage, a little bit more prevent by the Wolverines defense.
Persa looking towards Schmidt on the sideline, and he takes it past the 30 for Northwestern first down after a pickup of 5. Blake Countess standing in for Woolfolk at cornerback with the stop.
Again, Michigan only rushed 4 on that play right there. It's only going to work so long, though, for the Wolverines. You know that their success on defense is by bringing pressure, bringing 5, bringing 6. So at some point, they won't be able to sit back on their heels and just watch Dan Persa complete passes.
Here's Ebert, who turns around on the slant, takes it past the 40, near a first down after a pickup right at 10.
You can see the defense is trying to keep everything in front of them. The problem is if you let Dan Persa have 5 to 10 yards, he's going to take it every day of the week.
Straight ahead, Benrick Mark, who is in at tailback. Adonis Smith, who is in at tailback, and he picks up 2. I was watching Kane Coulter that time. Did you see him in at slot? He had no idea what the play was, and 3 different Northwestern coaches just pointed for him to block.
Well, I thought actually they were going to get a false start on that play because they were trying to go so fast that you're right. A lot of the guys didn't quite know what was going on. Persa trying to push the tempo, but you got to make sure everybody's on the same page.
Now empty backfield. Persa looking for a deep ball. He's got Ebert, who has a step, and that was just a hair underthrown, but a flag on the play. J.T. Floyd had the coverage for Michigan. Looked like Ebert had to come back for that ball.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 8. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
J.T. Floyd for Michigan's usually matched up against the best receiver, and you can see him and Ebert fighting right here. Right at the last second, the jarring with the hands right there is what the officials called. If he would have turned around and tried to make a play earlier on the football, but you can see a little bit too much hands there by J.T. Floyd.
Right hand was over the shoulder pads of Jeremy Ebert. 4th penalty for 50 yards for Michigan. Pats down by 11, trying to come back. Here's Ebert again on the long swing pass, and he gets folded up, lost the football, covered by Michigan's Thomas Gordon. Northwestern offense still on the field. They think Ebert was down. Gordon came away with the takeaway.
Michigan defense has had at least 2 turnovers in every game this season, and you can see when the game comes down at the line right at the end, Kenny Demmons, along with Thomas Gordon, strip the football out and again provide another possession for Michigan, creating opportunities for their offense and slowing down that Northwestern drive.
Ebert was going to the ground just as Gordon ripped it away and then covered it. Michigan turned it over 3 times in the first half. If this isn't overturned on an official review, it'll be the 2nd straight turnover for Northwestern.
You can see right there, that's his textbook. Kenny Demmons locks up Ebert, and then Thomas Gordon comes in at the end of the play to try to rake it out. I think that this view right here is the best one that we've had. And to me, that looks like the ball comes out before his knee hits the ground. You can see the slow motion right there. That ball's coming out before his left knee touches the ground, in my opinion.
12:56 to go.
Field of a fumble is confirmed. First down.
Well, Pat Fitzgerald said turnovers would decide this game. And now just when we're getting down to the nitty-gritty, Northwestern turns it over tonight, matching their same number of turnovers through the first 4 games of the season.
You can see the pain on Jeremy Ebert right there, the senior. He doesn't make very many mistakes like that out on the field on offense. And It's just been a change of the tides. In the first half, all the breaks, all the turnovers have been going in favor of Northwestern, and now in the second half, they've all been going in favor of the Wolverines.
Robinson still in the game for Michigan. He wants to change direction. He has nowhere to go. Nico Mafuli, the senior from the St. Louis area, in on the stop for Northwestern.
Again, we talked about it earlier in the ball game. This is where the Wildcat defense has got to pick up their offense. You got to come out, you got to play inspired and see if you can't yourself get a turnover. Try to get a strip out on the offense. If Al Borges and Denard Robinson go through the air, somebody's got to try to come up with a tip pass and an interception, but you got to find a way to pick up your offense.
Mafuli playing with a cast on his broken right hand. He's got a big billy club out there. And then slow his pursuit of Robinson, a loss of 7. Northwestern shows blitz. Robinson goes to the screen in the face of that pressure, and Michael Shaw makes him pay on a pickup of 10. Next weekend, it's 2 great matchups on BTN. First, the Boilermakers head to Happy Valley off of a big win at home to take on Penn State. We'll be there. Then in primetime, it's a Legends Division clash when Northwestern travels to Iowa. Pre-game coverage starts next Saturday at 10:30 Eastern, only on BTN. Ten-yard gain still leaves 7 for a first down for Michigan. Third down. Cats bring 3. And Robinson connects. He finds Gallen for a first down. And a big play for Michigan. Pickup of 19.
Little surprising to me that Al Borges dialed up a deep comeback in this situation. As you mentioned, it was 3rd and 7. I expected something right around the sticks, about an 8-yard pass. Elected for more around a 15-yard out. But again, the accuracy of Denard in the second half has been exceptional. He's been able to keep drives going by making plays through the air.
So first down Michigan. Shaw with Robinson. And Denard wants to take off. Shaw missed a block, and Robinson pays. Wabusi in for a loss of 3.
Bryce McNall was only going to be cut down by Shaw that last time. He saw it coming again. Shaw, you got to realize that defensive players are just as smart. He comes through trying to get the same cut block. McNall just gives him the dead leg, and David Wabusi right there to make the play in the backfield.
Gave him the dead leg, huh?
Absolutely. That's the dead leg right there. You can use it on defense. You can use it on offense, trying to slip out of attack. You never heard of the dead leg?
A big fan of the dead leg. 2nd and 12. Robinson hands it off to Shaw. And Shaw has blockers in some room. And he lost the football, but was likely down. Covered by Odoms. Jervin Matthews with the hit. It's a pickup of 9 for Michigan.
Like the patience right there by Michael Shaw. You can see he's got the convoy in front of him. 2 offensive linemen, his other back, just waiting for those guys to sort things out, and he finds a hole. And as you mentioned, Tom, that ball came out when he hit the ground. Although Odoms covered it, I think it would have been Michigan's ball anyway.
Well, a big center, David Molk, moves pretty well for a center, doesn't he?
Absolutely. One of the best ones in the country, in my opinion.
3rd and 3. Robinson with the option. Good cutback, and he's still on his feet, trying to get away. And Jersey and Moore brings him down. Mafuli grabbed him with one hand with a club on the other. Loss of 1.
Sometimes I think Denard gets it's predetermined what he's going to do, because in my opinion, that was a pitch all the way to Toussaint. But he made up his mind that he was going to run the football. Sometimes I think he gets out there and he just says, you know what, I'm going to make a play. This is going to be the one when I pick up 15, 20 yards, maybe get in for a touchdown. That should have been a pitch to the running back.
Drew Dillio is the holder. Brandon Gibbons, the kicker. He's 0 for 3 from outside of 40 yards in his career. But he's got new confidence after catching fire this season. And Brady Hoke has put a lot of confidence in him. This one blocked. Jack DiNardo, with his uncle looking on, came in with pressure to get a pawn. Northwestern looking for some momentum. Maybe they just got it. Well, it's a gorgeous weekend here in Evanston, and a look at downtown Evanston. 11th ranked Michigan well represented at Ryan Field tonight. A lot of maize and blue in the building. as they look to go to 6-0. And Persa out of the shotgun. Goes underneath, and big gain for Kane Coulter. Kenny Demmons with the stop. Let's go back down to the field and check in with Lisa.
Tom, if that play is not telling, I was watching down here on the sideline, and for most of the night, Dan Persa was the one on the phone. But the past series, it was Persa and Kane Coulter who were really dividing the time up on the phone. So expect maybe Coulter to get more involved here this series.
All right, thanks, Lisa. Here's Ebert, who's getting involved in the offense now, and he takes it near the 45-yard line for a Northwestern first down, a pickup of 8. We've seen Kane Coulter used a couple of different ways, but at quarterback, it was primarily to run the option. Now he's back in under center, and Benrick Mark is in the game, and we might just see Mark get a carry here. And here is Mark. Jet sweep. He's going backwards again. Now he turns it upfield, and Mark is past midfield. Good job making something out of nothing after a pickup of 7. Thomas Gordon finally got him.
Yeah, missed opportunity for Gordon right there. He had him in the backfield for a big loss. Sniffs this play out, but give a lot of credit to Benrick Mark for keeping his feet moving and getting upfield. Finally, Mike Martin's able to bring him down, but not after he's able to pick up a positive play.
Second down, Persa back, and he finds Ebert once again for a Northwestern first down. Is it imperative, if Northwestern wants to win this game, that they score on this drive?
I think so. I think they've got to get at least a field goal, which would put them down 8 points, so they are then within a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. But in my opinion, after how this second half has gone for Northwestern, they've got to get some points on the board.
Persa steps up. He's got plenty of room in front of him, and he tries to throw it to Coulter. Is that a play where Dan Persa would have run last year?
I think so. I think he would have run, and I think he should have ran that one. He saw that Coulter had at least a window that he could have delivered the football, but that field was wide open. He probably could have picked up 10 to 12 yards before any Michigan defender got to him.
He missed 10.5 months after tearing his Achilles after throwing the game-winning pass against Iowa. Nope, this is Ebert coming in. Weird personnel situation there before the snap for Northwestern. Charles Brown came running in from the sideline and was essentially a wasted player for Northwestern.
Charles Brown came in from the sideline and just looked at Dan Persa, and he still looks like there's some confusion in there. He keeps going back and forth from the sideline, and now he's up to the trip side of the field.
And it's third down, key down for Northwestern. Persa stands tall, lets it go, knocked away. Good coverage downfield by the freshman Blake Countess. Rashad Lawrence was the intended receiver for Northwestern. Fourth down. 4-down territory here for Northwestern. And Persa waits for the call to come in. 4th and 5. Pressure coming. Kovacs, he lost his helmet. Persa still alive, and he lets it go. Incomplete. And Pat Fitzgerald saying, how is that not a blow to my quarterback's head when he stayed on his feet? He ripped his helmet off, Fitz says. His helmet is on the 50. They did not whistle the play dead as soon as the helmet came off of Persa.
Is dead when the runner's helmet comes off. First down, Michigan.
So they turn it over on downs, and Pat Fitzgerald's about to lose his mind. The line judge has to hold him back.
Well, somebody else from the coaching staff needs to come get him too. He's obviously upset. He felt like there was a face mask. That was the reason why his helmet came off. Huge pressure there by the Michigan defense. Jordan Kovacs is the one that comes in. You can see the pressure right there. And that's what Pat Fitzgerald is screaming about. He feels like Kovacs ripped his helmet off from his face mask, but this point right here, the play is dead.
Pat Fitzgerald just got flagged. And so Michigan will tack on more yardage as they take over with 7:02 to go. Desperation now for Northwestern. And the frustration oozing from the Wildcat sideline and the College Football Hall of Famer Pat Fitzgerald.
Well, Pat Fitzgerald is one of the most tenacious players and coaches that we've seen at Northwestern. He's definitely going to stand up for his players. And here's another look at it right here. It's tough to tell from that angle.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. The Northwestern bench being out on the field, arguing a call. 15-yard penalty, first down.
What added to the confusion was that there was no whistle when Purse's helmet came off, as there should have been. The play was alive for a few more seconds. Northwestern turns it over on downs, and the penalty adds yardage. Big Ten Network football is brought to you by State Farm. For auto, home, life, and banking, get to a better state. And by Verizon, America's largest and most reliable wireless network. On this gorgeous October weekend, there's a look down the Chicago River passing under Dearborn. Back to Ryan Field in a moment. 35-24, 11th ranked Michigan leads Northwestern. And here's another look at Dan Purse's helmet coming off.
Jordan Kovacs coming in on the blitz, and you can see right there, it's tough to tell how the helmet comes off by Kovacs. He almost had like his whole arm and forearm on his helmet. Now, the officials probably should have blown that play dead quicker. They did blow it, and this is what Fitz is arguing about, and he came about 15 yards out on the playing field.
And that added 15 yards for Michigan as they take over after the Cats turn it over on downs, and Michael Shaw with a big burst takes it before Campbell brings him down. Now time for the Sprint Unlimited update.
Well, we've seen Michigan take advantage of those Northwestern turnovers here in the second half. Of course, Shoelace comes out of his shoes early on in the third quarter. And then Devin Gardner came in to spell Denard for a couple of plays, and he's able to get past the goal line for a touchdown. And then, of course, Michael Shaw shortly ago getting into the end zone. Tides have turned a little bit. Michigan now up 11 points.
That was after the Ebert fumble. So a couple of turnovers, and then they turn it over on downs. Robinson wants to take it himself. Takes a hit, but then squirts forward for a gain of a couple. McNall finally got him.
Expect to see a lot of running plays, and I'm sure that Brady Hoke and his staff on the sidelines was instructing his players at all costs, stay in bounds, keep the clock moving. Of course, it's going to stop on when they move the chains on first downs, but you'll see a heavy dose of running the football here in the last 5 minutes and 50 seconds to see if they can't run this clock out.
2 timeouts remaining for Northwestern. Remember, they lost one on Pat Fitzgerald's challenge to start the fourth quarter. 3rd and inches. Michigan may have jumped, and straight ahead first down run for Fitzgerald Toussaint. Looked like the left side of the line got going a little bit early. It's a pickup of 3.
And the fans here at Ryan Field saw it too. Got off the line of scrimmage pretty quickly. Looked like Taylor Lewan, the left tackle right there, got a quick jump, but the officials didn't call it. Was able to get into his block. Toussaint's able to move the chains.
So clock restarted as the ball is set. 5:10 and counting. 516 yards of offense for Michigan. Robinson straight ahead. Tried to bounce it. They try to rip it away, and they stand Denard Robinson up. Tyler Scott with the stop after a pickup of 3.
Well, this is going to be an opportunity for Northwestern to do their best to get in there to try to rake that football out like Thomas Gordon did for Michigan earlier on in this quarter. They've got to somehow try to find a way to get a turnover because, as we mentioned, Michigan's just going to keep this ball on the ground, and as long as they're able to pick up 4 yards of play, they're going to keep moving the chains and get first downs.
2nd and 7 for Brady Hoke's Wolverines. And a good stop by McNall coming in to drag down Toussaint, a loss of 2.
That's what this defense needs to do. They've got to get a couple of tackles behind the line of scrimmage and see if they can't force Al Borges to dial up a pass play, which is obviously an opportunity to get their hands on the football.
Taylor Lewan got a little shaken up on that play from Michigan. And they will hustle him off the field. I didn't see the injury, but one of the Michigan trainers came out to meet him. Frank Clark has entered at left tackle. Pardon me, Elliott Mealer is in at left tackle. Michigan 12 of 15 on third downs. Play action. Robinson sets up, sets his feet, lets it go. Complete. Michigan first down to Hemingway. A pickup of 17.
And there was the opportunity for that Northwestern defense. Ibrahim Campbell, number 24, saw that play coming. Again, that was the sail route or the corner route that we've been talking about all ball game. And Campbell sits back, and you can see right there, he just about gets his right hand on the football, and Mabin makes the tackle.
And so Ryan Field has gone quiet here as Michigan's knocking on the door again. Straight ahead running for Shaw. Peters and company bring him down. 3:05 to go and count.
Expect to see Denard Robinson start working that play clock too. Wouldn't be surprised if he starts getting up to the line of scrimmage and waits until that clock gets inside of 5 seconds before he gets the snap off. As long as they're staying in bounds and in first and second and third down, the clock will keep moving. They can try to milk as many ticks off of this clock as possible.
Michigan trailed 24-14 in the second quarter. They've scored 21 unanswered, and they're looking to add to it. 9th play of this drive, which has taken 4.5 minutes off the clock. And Toussaint dragged down behind the line of scrimmage. A loss of 2.
Loss of 2 on the play to the 5-yard line.
And Michigan obviously in no hurry. Northwestern uses a timeout. They have 1 remaining. 2:24 to go from Ryan Field. Cats need a stop. Michigan looking to stay undefeated, leading Northwestern 35-24. Hemingway said never mistake motion for action. It's not the case with Junior Hemingway. He's our Polaris hardest working player.
Well, you can see 24.8 average per catch here in this game. He leads the Big Ten Conference coming in today at 26.7 yards a catch. That won't move too much. Just a big play receiver for Michigan. When they need something through the air, usually you're going to see Hemingway go up and make a play.
Third down, Northwestern needs to get the ball back if they want a chance at this one and pulling the upset here at home. Robinson steps back, now busts to the outside, and the bounce will get him in. Another score for Michigan. And Shoelace kept both shoes on as he takes it in for another rushing touchdown.
Trying to run that little pop pass again to Koger in the end zone, and you know, you end up saying it so many times that Denard Robinson can just make so many plays that a lot of other quarterbacks in the country can't do. Number one, the guys don't have the ability to pull it down and think about getting around the edge. Nonetheless, the speed to get to the pylon, and that touchdown right there will pretty much put this one out of the game for the Wildcats.
2:19 to go, and Michigan with 28 straight points, taking advantage of Northwestern turnovers and a turnover on downs. Robinson goes to the headset, and Michigan may go to 6-0. .219 remaining here at Ryan Field. Denard Robinson with another touchdown drive and another touchdown run for Michigan. The second half has been all maize and blue. Mark driven 5 yards deep into the end zone. The United States Marine Corps salutes Denard Robinson, tonight's leader of the game.
Got to give him a lot of credit after that horrendous first half where he threw 3 interceptions and got his team behind the 8 ball. Came back out in the second half with a completely different determination to get his team into the end zone, make some plays, go through the air and on the ground, and pretty much got this one locked up for Michigan.
273 yards of offense in the second half for Michigan. 63 for Northwestern. So 5 wide spread look for Purcell. Trying to get something quick. And he's flushed and will let this one go to the sidelines. You mentioned the 3 turnovers in the first half. In the second half, they've outscored Northwestern 28-0. Is it something that we should have seen coming?
I think, well, you know, we'd seen Michigan a couple of weeks ago, and at that point, they couldn't score in the first quarter, but they've been able to close people out in the last 30 minutes of the game, and it's just been impressive, especially today, where they got themselves behind the 8 ball so early on in the game, but they were able to fight and basically get this one out of question early in the second half.
Back judge sent in a flag from about 25 yards back.
To the play, personal foul, offense, number 70. Half the distance to the goal, 3rd down.
Right tackle Patrick Ward gets flagged. Well, we know one thing about Pat Fitzgerald and Northwestern. Disappointing loss to be sure, but it's not going to stick with him too long.
No, without a doubt. One of the interesting things about Pat Fitzgerald and his entire team is that it's a 24-hour rule. They'll come back tomorrow, they'll look at the film. He said his coaches will go for a run or a walk for 30 minutes and they'll come back at 6 o'clock, and it's all about their next opponent. Nobody, coaches or players, can talk about the previous game.
Here's Schmidt on the reception from Purcell. Tries to get out of bounds, but is dragged down by Kenny Demmons, who's had a strong game for Michigan. A pickup of 9. A tough task for Northwestern without Dan Purcell through the first few games, and this just their second home game of the season. 4th and 7. Purcell over the middle, incomplete. And a flag again comes in from the back judge, who's showing off his arm. Pretty good toss of the hanky. And that'll keep the drive
Pass
alive.
interference, defense, number 7. 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
Brandon Hawthorne, the linebacker. Well, regardless of how this turns out, there's a lot to be positive about for Northwestern.
Well, they've got so many options on offense, one being Kane Coulter right there, who was interfered with by Brandon Hawthorne. And I think they've found some things that they can do offensively to keep defenses on their heels with Kane Coulter and Dan Purcell in the ballgame together, or with one of them on the sidelines.
Schmidt gets forward for a 1st down, pickup of 11 to stop the clock momentarily with 1:11 to go. Don't forget, coming up, the State Farm postgame show. Dave, Jerry, and Howard have been in the building all afternoon, and they'll be with you under the lights here at Ryan Field. Schmidt again picks up another big gain for Northwestern, and again will stop the clock with a 1st down catch and run before Hawthorne brings him down. Pickup of 18 now for the senior from Rhinelander, Wisconsin, Jacob Schmidt.
Good to see Northwestern continuing to fight here. Obviously, this ball game is pretty much over, but Purcell and company keep moving that football down the field.
And now Purcell swallowed up by big William Campbell. 322-pound junior from Detroit.
Campbell, one of those 8 defensive linemen that Greg Madison likes to rotate through there to try to keep guys fresh, and obviously getting a little bit more clock here towards the end of the ball game, as this one is out of question.
2nd and long coming for Northwestern. 41 seconds left. Back to Evanston after this. 42-24. Michigan trying to stay undefeated. They're used to fast starts in Ann Arbor, but over the last few years, they petered out in the second half of the season. 5-0 last year. They won just 2 of the final 8. Catch made by Adonis Smith, and he will be wrapped up. Great note dug up by our BTN crew this afternoon. Since 1976, every time Michigan has gone through the first 6 games without a loss, their season has finished at the Rose Bowl.
I'm sure Brady Hoke and his staff would like to see that one continue. We saw that question mark on his last statistics as far as their finish, but they were off to a pretty good start here in the getting into the second half of the season for Brady Hoke.
Christian Jones with the first down grab. And so they're looking to reverse those numbers that were turned in by Rich Rod and his crew in 2009 and 2010. Northwestern trying to get one last score and shot to the end zone, and Coulter was in there to spike the ball and stop the play. Persa is on the sideline, and he doesn't look too happy. And Pat Fitzgerald told us that he did not take that loss at Illinois well. He said, he is the most competitive guy that I know. And I said, how does he compare to you when you were a player and you guys lost? He said, exactly the same way. He said, I wouldn't talk to anybody for the entire week.
Yeah, he said, Persa doesn't talk, and if I didn't have all the obligations as a head coach, I probably wouldn't talk either. But he said as a player after a loss, you wouldn't hear from Pat Fitzgerald.
1 second.
9 seconds remain on the game clock. And Kane Coulter in to try and direct this last score.
Clock to 1 to 8 seconds.
So they wanted 1 second off the clock. Sophomore Coulter, quarterback now for Northwestern. Coulter steps up. He wants to run for it. He's got some daylight, but he'll be stopped at the 1. And that's where this game will stop for Northwestern. 14-yard run, but stopped just short. And Northwestern held scoreless in the second half. Michigan's defense came in as the second best scoring defense in the nation. They were put in a tough spot in the first half thanks to 3 turnovers, but they answered the bell in the second. 11th ranked Michigan stays undefeated, now 6-0 on the season, with a big game coming up next week. Well, we didn't know what Michigan would bring us on the road for the first time. Didn't seem to be an issue. Let's go down to the field now. Leasing Byington with Brady Hoke.
Coach, you were down 10 points going into the half. What was the biggest thing you told this team needed to change?
Well, we were down 10 points, and we have 3 interceptions. You know, turned the ball over 3 times. We had 3 penalties that really hurt us. And, you know, we just talked about being, 10 points down, not playing our best football, and to come out and play our best football.
On the flip side, you were able to create some turnovers in the second half and then held them scoreless. How was your defense able to be so effective there?
Oh, I thought they played with a lot of grit. You know, this defense is trying to play hard as a team, and they've come along some, but we got more challenges ahead.
All right, 6-0. Congratulations. Thanks for the time.
We'll stay on the road and go to East Lansing next week with a big matchup with Michigan State. Our final, Michigan 42, Northwestern 24. This has been an exclusive presentation of the Big Ten Network. For Derek Rackley, Lisa Byington, our entire BTN crew, I'm Tom Hart saying so long for now from Evanston. Now let's go down to the field. Dave, Jerry, and Howard have all the action for you right now.
Thank you very much, Tom. So Michigan, a very impressive second half as they whitewash Northwestern after halftime, win it by the final of 42-24. We welcome you into our State Farm postgame show. Dave Revson along with Jerry DiNardo and Howard Griffith. Wow, you want to talk about a tale of 2 halves.
Absolutely. I mean, Northwestern had control of the first half. They looked like they had the scheme that they needed. And then the second half, Howard, the turnovers hurt Michigan the first half, turnovers hurt Northwestern the second half.
And it seemed like Michigan was able to really keep the ball and control it, particularly when you talk about the second half of the game. And that's what they needed to do. That's what they weren't doing necessarily in the first, because those turnovers were a big problem.
And, big-time conversion for Michigan also helped them possess the ball. And that was really, at the end of the day, the way to beat Northwestern's offense is to keep them off the field.
Now the Wolverines moved to 6-0 for the first time since 2006. Let's take a look at the way this one went down here at Ryan Field. Pick it up here early in the first quarter. Denard Robinson looking deep for Junior Hemingway. And this is what they did, just kind of threw it up there. And the receiver's big enough to go and get it.
I'm not sure they called it wing and a prayer in the huddle, but sometimes that's what it looked like.
And then Robinson with the touchdown pass. That makes it 7-0 in favor of the Wolverines. Then Kane Coulter in at quarterback for Northwestern. And Coulter on the sweep ties it up at 7. Back comes Michigan. Robinson going deep. It is intercepted by Ibrahim Campbell. So Northwestern coming up with a defensive stop. And the Cats then able to get it to Trayvon Green, the freshman who takes it in to put Northwestern on top 14-7. But back come the Wolverines. Jeremy Gallen on the screen pass. Great move there to make it 14-all. Back comes Northwestern. Dan Persa had a very good first half. Christian Jones inside the 5-yard line. And then it's Persa on the option to Adonis Smith. Northwestern 21-14 lead. They led it 24-14 at the half, but the second half, all Michigan. Robinson in for the touchdown, and Michigan down just 3. Then it's Devin Gardner keeping it and putting Michigan back on top, 28-24. Northwestern, Persa has it picked off. Nice diving interception there by Brandon Hawthorne. Remember, Northwestern did not turn it over in the first half. They turned it over twice in the second half. Michael Shaw answering for Michigan. That makes it 35-24. And then the Wildcats, this is kind of a crazy play. Dan Persa's helmet comes off. And by rule, that's the end of the play. They did play it out, but technically play over at that point and game over as well. 42-24. Michigan wins it. Again, 6-0, first time since 2006. Their 28th win in their last 32 games against Northwestern as the Wildcats drop their 7th straight conference home opener. And how about this with Michigan? Now 6-0. You look at the recent 6-0 starts, and these go all the way back to 1976. The last 5 of them have ended with Michigan playing in the Rose Bowl. We're not saying, we're just saying.
You look at Northwestern in the first half, they kept moving the chains. They stayed on schedule on 1st and 10. Then the second half, they run 6 plays the third quarter because Michigan does the same thing the second half that Northwestern did the first half.
Well, I know we talked a lot about the Michigan offense and what they were able to do, but the defense definitely stepped up and made a lot of plays, particularly 3 sacks. And this was something that we hadn't seen by Coulter. Coulter was able to extend plays. He wasn't able to do a lot of that this evening.
They didn't make a lot in the third quarter, just 6. That's what Michigan wants, obviously. Possess the football, keep the defense off the field. Northwestern still's got a good offense.
Yeah, they do. We just weren't able to see a whole lot of it. And uncharacteristic of them with the turnovers, too.
Right.
I mean, this is a team that in the first 4 games had turned the ball over just twice. They turned it over twice in the second half, and that really the difference in large part of the game.
In large part of the game, but they balanced each other off. I mean, Michigan turned it over the first half. Northwestern turns it over the second half. I think at the end of the day, Denard having more than 100 yards rushing was something that really helped Michigan, especially the second half.
And without a doubt, and talk about decision-making. We talked about that at the top of the show. He did a much better job in the second half, and that's what they needed to do to really stay on schedule. And, hey, Devin Gardner came in, and they weren't big numbers, but the fact that he was able to get into the game, apparently Denard had a little injury with his hand, came in and really gave him a spark.
And you look at when Denard was hurt and they put Devin in, I mean, on the goal line, critical underneath center. Now they take most of their snaps from the shotgun.
Right.
So you have a young player taking a snap, and then was the third or fourth play when he scored a touchdown. I mean, that was a big time play.
I mean, there was no doubt when we were there in the preseason, Devin Gardner's a big time quarterback. We knew that, coming out in recruiting, comes in 3 for 3, 24 yards, is able to run the ball as well. But you got to talk about Denard Robinson in this game, Howard, because we said tale of two halves. First half, he just wasn't good. Right. I mean, turning the ball over, making bad decisions. You talked about it. Completely the opposite here in the second half.
And I think that's one of the beauties of his game. We can talk about the way he can go out and not play as well as he needs to in the beginning of the game, but then all of a sudden he's able to step up and get comfortable with what he needs to do. Yes, he throws it up, but he's got a wide receiver in Hemingway that can go pull it down. He knows that. He has the confidence in those wide receivers to make some of those plays. Again, dropping back in the pocket, he's comfortable, steps up. Nice pass here, and that's something you didn't see him do in the first half, continuing to move the football down the field. Again, run a little bubble screen to Gallen here, a little misdirection, and he does the rest of it. So they have athletes, there's no question about that. Playmakers on the offensive side of the football, they just need to make sure they take care of the football. That's the biggest key for them.
How about 451 yards of total offense for Denard Robinson? That's just kind of what he does. He threw for 338. He ran for 113. It's his 13th career 100-yard rushing game. That's the most for any quarterback in the nation. And when they